The hosts of the Swine Brothers show are not role models. They're not even human. They're complete monsters. The Swine Brothers show is dumb, crude, thoughtless, ugly, sexist, self-destructive, foolish, and a crime against humanity. Some of the things they do would cause a person to get hurt, expelled, arrested, possibly deported. The fact they blatantly ripped this off from another source should be an indicator of their shameless depravity. This extreme in bad taste will offend anyone with a working brain, so listener discretion is advised. If you're still here, welcome to the sewer of the internet.
You know what? Sometimes you just gotta rub one out in order to think straight.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Swine Brothers Show, coming to you from various points in America. There are less ways to get in contact with us than ever, thanks to the miracle of social media. You can email us at cosmicgodsdie@gmail.com, which I have control of. Or you can contact us on Facebook at Swine Brothers. I think it's at SwineBros666, which only Jim has control of. Thank you, Facebook, for doing that. My name is Elliot Lindemood, your slightly miffed host, and my co-host is...
I am the Jim, and I scratched my ass.
And then I'd just like to say thank you, Facebook, for taking, 25 days to get back to me on something that I should never have been suspended for.
It was a fucking popular band. People knew it, and like they...
And I had to send my info, and they haven't reviewed my info yet. And it's been 25 days. And the worst part is, if I create another account, it'll just disable it automatically because it's an IP thing.
Get a VPN.
Yes. Anyway, that's beside the point. What is on the clown show for the day?
You see, a couple weeks ago, I broke up with someone. Well, they broke up with me. And it was because I wasn't socializing properly. Which, fine, dandy. You know, I got a difficult time socializing with normies because there are certain things I grasp they don't. Take, for example, you know, the fact that I'm pretty much somewhere, you know, you got your nihilists. You got your fucking pansy asses that sit there and cry, oh, boo-hoo, nothing matters. Then you got the fucking people somewhere around 25-30% nihilism sitting there saying, I'm the destroyer of worlds and master of reality, ha ha ha. Then you get somewhere around our level where it's like, yeah, nothing matters, and it's great.
I still have a hard time understanding the whole, and I know it's none of my business, but I still have a hard time understanding the whole breakup because you weren't socializing. But then again, everyone I've dated is just like, okay, he's going to do his thing, and if he talks, he talks. But that's, you know, they understand my eccentricities. I don't know. I took a trip. I needed to get away from it all, so I went to the desert, and talking to people, I made a joke, okay? Well, I sort of humorous. Don't follow your dreams, kids, because you might end up like me. And everyone thinks that's so depressing.
I think it's more a failed attempt at a joke because it's been overused.
Well, it's more of like a Stanhope, you know, bitter drunk type thing. But at the same time, it's reveling in it. I don't think most people want to be like me. I like being me. I don't think most people would want it, though.
Most people don't want to have to have been homeless, had their fucking marriage destroyed, not seen their kids in 15 years. All the things that it would take to become me, they wouldn't want to endure that. In fact, most of them would have probably fucking eaten a bullet by now. But I'm actually pretty happy. I mean, fuck. A couple of chicks that have dated me actually approached me, saying, well, you just look like you're generally happy. Most people fake their smiles. You look like you're generally happy smiling. It's like, yeah, because I typically am. Yes, I have all this tragedy and fucking other bullshit, you know, with me. But at the same time, you know, can you still find joy in the midst of this? And the answer is yes. You just got to make it for yourself.
I just look sad all the time because because I can't see. I'm not a natural smiler. Um, as for me, I don't know. There's some weird neuroses going on there that I don't think a lot of people would want. But again, I mean, I'm not in. I mean, am I where I would like to be in life? No, not really, because where I'd like to be is like in a mansion, being paid millions of dollars per show.
You see, I just want to be able to buy a church that's abandoned for the sole purpose of setting it on fire. Now, keep in mind, I'm a Christian, which, yeah, sit there and laugh the double think it takes to be a nihilist and a Christian. But it's not to sit there and say, oh, wow, destroy religion. It's like, no, have you ever seen a church go up? I've seen footage of it, and it's a rather beautiful event. And that brings me to another thing. It's like, people sit there and frown like whenever you say, oh, I want to fucking murder these people. I mean, even in your moment of rage, whenever, like, someone cut you off, I want to fucking kill that bastard. People you're with will excuse it, but if someone captures it and puts it up online, all of a sudden it's time to fucking shame the bastard for giving in to, like, one of our fucking lizard brain instincts.
Exactly.
And like, he's venting it so that he doesn't actually cross the line and do it.
That's what G.G. Allen always said about his music. He always said that if he didn't have his music, he would become a serial killer.
Exactly. I mean, if you're not sitting there entertaining these thoughts, sometimes it gets a little bit off the rails. How bad I fucking want to mutilate someone, but I get it off my mind, and then I look back, it's like, well, there was that guy that pissed me off at work today because he didn't feel like stopping for the damn paddle. So, whatever, using his superior intellect to almost cause an accident, which could have cost some people their lives. Gotta love that.
Yes.
But, you pissed me off. I sat there, thought about breaking rusty drill bits off in your limbs and fucking then hacking off your hands and feet and letting you live after I cut out your vocal cords and just chucking you down on fire in front of the paramedics so they could actually save you so the rest of your life's in pain. Yeah. That's how much you pissed me off, but for fucking running my paddle and almost killing some people because you didn't want to fucking pay attention to the damn road, or you used your superior intellect to say, I could still see people ahead of me, or the lane looks clear, I could go. Yeah, you almost fucking killed some fucking workers, god damn it. There was a reason I told you stop.
And I think people don't like it because we talk about things that people would rather. We were talking about, life has no meaning or no lives matter type thing.
Yeah, and sit there, look at it, okay? Well, let's take the atheistic viewpoint, okay? Do we matter to the universe so much that we live forever? No. We can die from just a myriad of things, even minor things that we would never think would kill us. Yep. So no, our lives don't matter in the atheistic meaning. Now let's take the God is love motive. Again, no, our lives don't fucking matter. God could kill us on a whim for whatever purpose he feels like. It's our souls that matter to him, not our lives.
But people don't want to face that fact. People, I don't know, there's something inside them that
and I think part of it is you saying no lives matter as a fucking statement of fact somehow gets wrapped up in their brains to the point where it's like you're saying that you value no lives. I hate to say it, but I kind of value yours because you fucking keep me from boredom on days I'm working a road closed.
I value yours because you weren't on what I'm using now this week, and I was like, I actually missed that old fucker.
Yeah, I know. I finally got it on my fucking phone. Damn.
Oh, God, I said I wouldn't say that out loud.
Yeah.
Blech, I'm going to have to wash my mouth out with soap. And I value the lives of people I love and people, friends and things like that.
Friends, family. Not all family, but a decent chunk of it for me.
Whereas...
but, like, you sitting there saying no lives matter, that means no lives matter to you personally, I guess, blah, 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 because you can't wrap your brain around the singular fact that these are two concepts that, aren't, opposing, Yes, no lives matter in the grand scheme of things. Do lives matter to me? Well, I value some lives more than others. Everyone values some lives more than others. You got friends and people you give a shit about. Then you got the massed swath of population on this planet that you don't know and don't really even care about. Yeah,
Unless you
sure,
listen
you'll
to
wave
this
a
show.
flag and pretend that you do, but that's you trying to pretend to be the good guy in all this, saying all lives matter, or these lives matter, or those lives matter. No, because you don't know the grand scheme of things. And oh god, I'm gonna have to fucking find this bitch's profile.
Unless you listen to this show, in which case we love you, and that's a lie. I just lied. While he's looking, um, it's the good guy thing. It's. Do you remember when Phil Anselmo did his little white power joke?
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
and Rob Flynn went on this. The guy from Machine Head went on this good guy rant about how he's so heartbroken about his betrayal. It's the good guy thing. They don't want to hear.
I want to be the hero. Well, fuck, I'd rather be the villain, because at least the villain gets shit done. The heroes just die.
Well, the hero
Well, to be
should
on the
die.
top of it all, usually the heroes are the true villains.
The hero should die. The only reason heroes don't die is because they're heroes. If it was reversed, they would. I mean, ugh. I always hate it when villains have the better weapons and yet they
God.
did. Yeah.
You know, it's just sad whenever Stormtrooper number 326 had to die.
Well, you know, it's
He wasn't even really evil. He was just doing his job, going day to day, and some
that's
fucking
the
rebel asshole shot him in the face.
well, that's the Timothy McVeigh thing, isn't it? That yeah, they weren't actually evil, but they were working for the evil.
hmm So now you gotta kill him in the face, because, you know, even though they probably would have sympathized with your side, it's like, well, I need a paycheck and don't like spending time in prison.
Yep. So
Especially
they
these
have to die.
intergalactic prisons run by us asshole fucking stormtroopers.
Yeah. But so yeah, it's about the good guy and again, well, it's when I was an atheist, I was accused of believing in nothing. I'm smart enough and I know enough atheists. They don't believe in nothing. They believe in things. They just don't happen to believe in God.
Yeah,
That's
one of the things that really pisses me off about, like, you know, these more like militant style, I guess you could say. It's a horrible. I can't come up with a better term for it, but they're like the militant atheists. Where like fundamentalist atheists would be more accurate.
fundamentalist atheists. I think is the expression. Yes.
Because it's like, you know, they're like, well, all religions caused war. Okay, well, how's that different from your fundamentalist Christians saying all other religions caused war? You dropped one word from that, and somehow it's the one true way, the one true path.
But the intelligent
And the whole thing is, when you break atheism down, you agree with one sentence: there is no God.
the
Okay,
thing
fine. You're good with that. Good. What else is there? Because if that's one sentence long, then you're attaching yourself to fucking other ideas which are not atheism. They could be
back
secularized to the point where any atheist can pick it up, but it's not actually atheism in and of itself.
when I was in the atheist community, we used to have, you know, friend ads on atheist groups where we just add as many friends as possible. So we'd have like-minded, you know, friends or whatever. And I participated because I was. This is before we, you know, virtually met, and you know, it became a very echo chamber. But anyway, I remember in one group, some atheist guy shot someone, a security guard, I think it was, and the post was literally, I can't believe a fellow atheist did that. And I'm like, you agree on one thing: there is no God, or I don't believe in God, and even everything else. So it was just so weird to me that someone couldn't believe that an atheist would do that.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well,
It was very strange, and that's when I sort of realized that wait, these people think that it's more than just a disbelief in God. There's a, you know, there's also we have to do right in order to show what is it? We have to do right to show that we're better than the Christians because we do right. That was there. So you had people getting in like you had atheists acting more churchy than the church people,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was hilarious. Um, and then you have the anti-theists, which were just really annoying.
Yeah.
Anti-theist is the word you were looking for.
That was probably it. God.
Yeah.
It's like, must destroy all religion. And it's like, you realize that even if the idea is fallacious, it's here to stay.
Well, yeah, if you destroyed all...
Because we would have killed it a long time ago in favor of government. A long, long time ago.
Well, if you killed that particular religion, they'll just worship something else.
Mm-hmm.
Toaster.
Like this cult of social justice that the neo-yuppie trash love to worship.
Well, now that St. Ginsburg's dead.
Oh, God. St. Ginsburg.
I'm a bot. I'm a bot, apparently. Because I wasn't scared after she died. That was an argument I had.
Really, politics as usual is, terrifying you.
Because she was supposed to be the savior, the one keeping all the right-wingers at bay.
Yeah, you're the ones that fucked everything up by changing it from, a 60-person vote to, from a 2/3 vote down to a simple majority. And now that it's being used against you, you're crying. Used as a workaround for one person, and now it's being used as a workaround to get multiple people.
Well, that and the fact that one person was standing at, was keeping them all at bay is a pretty fanciful idea. So, yeah, as you said, the cult of social, or we'll worship a politician.
Uh-huh. Yeah, how's that different
Bernie
than
Sanders.
fucking worshiping the emperor gods of old? Fucking free Sparta.
Or Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to make an official decree that, no, the emperor did not have supernatural powers. You don't say. You wanted to get onto a thing about edgelords, which I thought was really interesting.
I just don't grasp how... Okay, I can understand posers, okay? Posers trying to, fucking act all hardcore. And your fucking weaklings that like to make jokes, but, can't accept realities. Alright, but, the whole thing just boils down to, you can't accept reality for what it is.
I grasp it, just because I've been called it so many times. And what I grasp is, there are a lot of internet tough guys and posers. And a lot of people really don't want to face the fact that people really think this way. That when you say that, something is like this, or you think something is like, people do not want to believe that you're serious. Because no one can think this way without being in prison or being in a mental hospital.
Oh,
which is funny because then they post the next day and they decry the failing mental health system. But yeah, I mean, I remember.
I still love that logic. Oh my God, how are you not institutionalized? By the way, the mental health system is broken. Well, if it's broken, don't you think that people would slip through the cracks?
Exactly. Well, and I mean, it's... Or if someone voices... It's now... If someone voices an opinion about a band, if someone says that Pantera sucks, okay, which is my opinion, Jim doesn't necessarily agree.
There's stuff I got tired of now.
But
I wouldn't say it sucks, it's just not that great.
Or if I see, Five Finger Death Punch sucks.
Oh yeah, that's like this huge sin. And it's
because
but they do suck. They're weak and pathetic.
You underground poser. And there are Reaper Metal Productions.
What I love is whenever someone tries to start a fucking Metallica sucks thread, and you know, and then you got the person coming on trying to defend Metallica. Like there's some underground underdog act that no one has ever heard of before. I mean, maybe after, you know, the band dies and stops trying to do shit, you know, maybe. But even then, it's doubtful. It's like saying, you know, I have to defend the Beatles.
There are people who take it too far. Reefer Metal Productions calls them underground tough guys, and so I'll call them that as well, because the people who think that Toxic Holocaust sold out because they signed to Relapse Records. Toxic Holocaust has never really changed their sound. I mean, they've sort of evolved and sort of done some different things, but they still sound like, you know, black and crushed speed metal. But because they signed to Relapse Records, Toxic Holocaust sold out, or Cannibal Corpse sold out. Tell me, Jim, when did Cannibal Corpse release a pop album?
I know, right?
I forgot that. I wanna sodomize you with meat hooks, baby. which I would laugh at, but I mean, the reason they say Cannibal Corpse sold out is because you can buy their stuff on Hot Topic, or they tour with deathcore bands or whatever, which admittedly is kind of a shame. But so or people who Behemoth sold out because they're popular and they were touring with Slipknot. Albeit that is kind of sad, but Vader also toured with Slipknot. I don't see you shitting on Vader.
No.
Vader toured with Slipknot and Metallica, and I don't understand that logic. But, you know, okay, Behemoth toured with Slipknot. I don't like Slipknot.
Yeah,
And
I
I
know.
wouldn't, and I wouldn't necessarily go see Behemoth and Slipknot because the tickets are way too expensive for one band. But I like Behemoth if they're doing if they're doing well and they're happy with what they're doing and they're bringing death metal to people who maybe haven't heard death metal. Maybe they'll get inspired. Maybe they'll go back to their old records and go, "Wow, this stuff sucks." I mean, that was when I first heard death metal. I went back to my old Slipknot records and went, "I don't hear what I thought I heard." So
Mm-hmm.
if they're doing,
Parallel for me, you know, it's like, you know, the Black Album by Metallica. That was one of the things that got me into metal, and I can't. And
Me
these
too.
days, I can't even listen to it for nostalgic purposes. It sucks
too.
so bad because my tastes evolved from like when I was a kid, you know. And I just happen to like, you know, things with more intricacy, things with more complex harmonies, things that don't sound like fucking watered out alt rock.
but it's not even about intricacy for me. I mean, Hellhammer is the simplest of simplistic bands, but yet they just write some primordial, amazing. But you know, I tried. What's that song called? Wherever I May Roam came on the other day, and that was one of the songs that got me into metal. And I tried to like it for nostalgic purposes, and all I could think was, hmm, I moved on from that. Whereas a band like Bad Religion, which you can make fun of me for that all you want, yeah, okay, they're melodic as hell, but they write some good melodies, and I still like them from the time I was 14. So, whereas Kill 'Em All, which was an album that got me into thrash, I listened to it the other day, and I was like, I forgot how good this was.
Mm-hmm.
Kill 'Em All, such a great album. But so that's, I mean, I think Edgelords. Well, I mean, we've all seen what Edgelords are. Edgelords are the, you know, I'm so hardcore and badass because I'm going to talk about killing people. And when someone like us comes, who actually mean what we say, I don't think they know how to react to that. But it's also a way of invalidating one's opinion. If someone has an opinion you disagree with, call them an edgelord, or call them a fascist, or call them an incel. Incel is the new fascist, by the way.
And I think they're starting to move away from that into some other crazy bullshit I don't understand.
That's still incel.
And it's going to be there for a while.
Yeah, it's a way of invalidating people's opinion. And again, I think a lot of people who call us to be edgelords are people who can't understand how different people think. Which, I mean, society's always been like that. They've always, you know, in the 70s, if you walked down the street with purple hair, you were going to get beat up.
Yeah, I know. But it was just, I remember it, the crowds I ran with, okay, and that it was a statement of, I reject society. But you did rejected society on the basis that you knew it was going to reject you right back.
Yes.
And that there would be harsh consequences for it. And you were young, full of piss and vinegar, and willing to accept getting your ass kicked over it.
Yes. But now we live in an online culture, basically.
Yeah,
that doesn't really happen anymore. So the new showdowns have to be, on the internet. I've sort of stopped caring about, like, I mean, I still notice it, but when people, I used to get really defensive when people would call me an edgelord and try to explain that, no, this is how I really think. But you're never going to convince them.
Yeah, because it's just too shocking, too out there.
It's too shocking, too out there, and too how did they slip through the cracks? I distracted them by talking to them about, racing. Because they would never talk about, problems. They would always say, what do you want to talk about? Well, racing or music. But at the same time, you couldn't open up with these people because I grew up in the age where if you mention suicide, if you mention it in passing, they would inform the authorities and you'd be locked up.
You were just called an emo.
You mean in your day?
Yeah. I'm certain before that there was a different way of doing it.
I went to school with a girl who I known since second grade, and I knew that she was all talk, and I thought that everyone else knew she was all talk. I came back from the American Le Mans Series race at Laguna Seca in 2009. I remember, I wasn't sad about this because she was really damn annoying, but apparently in the 3 days I've been gone, she had threatened to kill herself for one reason or another, and she was being evaluated at a mental hospital. I knew she was all talk. I known her since second grade.
Yeah.
But
it's all boo-hoo, pity me.
Yes.
And there's a difference because your actual suicide people don't usually talk about it. It's just usually that thing where it's like, finally, I've had enough. It's time for release. And you just start drawing away. I mean, that's the huge sign there. You're starting to withdraw from society. Which, great. Good luck fucking finding, suicidal people here post-pandemic. Whenever people are fucking forced to fucking withdraw from society.
Well, I was talking to someone about this, and he said, if they want to do it, they're going to do it. If it's real, if it's not a cry for help, if it's actually legitimate, they're going to do it. And one famous race broadcaster, he had some sort of illness. I think it was ALS. He had, 18 months to live, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling his friends openly about suicide. And they committed him, but he checked himself out because he was an adult. And he did it in the one way he had never mentioned. He hung himself. He had never mentioned that. He had mentioned all the other ways he never mentioned. So, but my point is that if someone had just told her, and she didn't end up going through with it, obviously, but she transferred to a new school. I think she missed her friend or something like that. But if someone had just talked to her and said, stop being an idiot. But no, they had to overreact, and they, so that was, I was very careful, even in my, when you're really depressed and you want to tell someone about it. This is years ago, right? When you're depressed and want to tell someone about it, but you can't tell anyone about it because they'll freak out and,
mm-hmm.
and have you checked out. When all you need is to talk, it becomes stifling. And so you have to explore those emotions in a certain way. That is, through releasing them. So that's another reason we're very suppressed in this modern culture. Everything's very suppressed.
Yeah, I
And
know. It's like, and that's one of the fucking things here when it comes to, like, why freedom of speech needs to be there. Because, yeah, if you let people talk without, major repercussions such as losing their job or getting locked up in a loony bin, because you might actually help people who have problems. Because they're actually capable of voicing those problems without fear of being locked up. I mean, fuck.
we we have been raised, and now we're seeing the results of, if he's acting out in school, rather than ask him why he's acting out in school, rather than getting to know him, let's just put him on Ritalin, which I know you liked, but it didn't agree with me at all. But we are seeing the results of the Ritalin generation.
Well, I
The
snorted
generation.
Ritalin. Occasionally I chew it. But, like, I didn't, like, actually. This is my drug years, kids, if you're just tuning in for the first time. That was years ago.
We are seeing the fallout of the generation raised on, it's better to smash them down than to examine them.
Mm-hmm.
I
And and whenever they finally snap and do something, it's, oh my god, such a surprise. Because you medicated them to not have any symptoms. I
I
mean, if you're exhibiting symptoms and it's something psychological, half the time, actually 90% of the time, you just need to talk about it. They're not actually that psycho. They just needed someone to talk to. And instead of talking to them, you medicated them.
I didn't like school very much, and I was never explained why I needed to show the work, because my thing is, well, I understand it, I grasp it. Why do I need to show the work and things like that? And I would act out in school and get into trouble and stuff, which I thought was great fun. But rather than getting to understand why I did it, it was, let's dose them with Ritalin. And so I hated it, but I didn't have the willpower to chuck it or to pretend to or whatever. Fuck, I hate myself when I was a kid because I was like, why didn't you just pretend to take it, you little moron? But I was whatever. Anyway, so about the middle of the day, I would just become this zombie, and I didn't want to do anything, but I would do the work. But they did, but I was acting a lot better. Finally, one of the teachers finally realized that maybe this isn't good for me, because I would just melt, completely shut down at about 11 o'clock or whatever. Thankfully, one of the teachers actually had a bit of brains and said maybe you shouldn't be on this stuff. But that's, I grew up on that, and that's the generation that I grew up on. Let's not examine it. Let's medicate. As you said, either he'll act out or he'll become a zombie, and that's the culture we live in. And we escaped with minimal scarring, so to speak. And I don't feel constrained. I don't feel like I need to be constrained in what I say or what I do. I mean, obviously, what I do, there's laws and shit, but I've never felt that I needed to be constrained. I never felt that I needed to watch what I say or whatever. So people don't understand that. And also, it's a thing. We're not subtle people.
No.
You're not subtle at all. I used to love album reviews from punk rock and heavy metal magazines, rather than, I find this album to be lacking in its artistic merits. No, this album is an abortion minus the fun part. They were blunt. Whether or not you agreed with them, whether you thought they were right or whether you thought they were wrong, they were blunt in their.
This album is shit or this album rocks.
And,
or it's mediocre was about the weakest you'd get. It's mediocre. You could probably do better with something else, but it's serviceable.
So, because of that, I modeled my writing style after that. And I get shit in death metal groups for calling it shit. Why can't you be nicer? It's like, why do I have to be nicer? If
it conveys the point and you actually like the shit and I don't, who the fuck cares? I mean, you like the shit. I'm not going to sway your opinion. In fact, you could go ahead and say how much you like it and for what reasons.
I'm just giving my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, I don't happen to like it, and I'm not going to mince words about why I don't happen to like it. If I think it's pretentious prog wank, I'm going to say it's pretentious prog wank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to. So I've always liked people who were very blunt in what they said, and so but people don't like people don't like bluntness anymore.
God. You know, and it was funny because it's like, you know, Nora broke up. She's like, you know, I was just being honest and you don't like it. It's like, no, that's not the point. You broke up with me via text message and this is sudden. You prepared for this. I had no preparation for you to fucking break up with me. Okay?
Boy, do I know the feeling there.
So it's like, you know, give me time to adapt. I'm fine with the truth. Fine, you don't want me. Just give me time to get over it. Because it just hit me like a wall of bricks. But no, you know, yeah. I couldn't handle the truth because I couldn't do it on a spin of a dime. You know, everything went 180. I thought everything was fine. You gave me a kiss goodbye and all that, and all of a sudden we're broke up because you don't socialize.
Yeah, I know the feeling. That you remember we did get my mind off everything. I was fucked up for like a month after that, and I didn't think I would be either. I thought, okay, like a week, and then like a month later, I'm like, so yeah, I know the feeling, and I know the feeling of it's happening suddenly. So, but
you know, so I think the whole thing is I am blunt, and I appreciated the bluntness. It was great, actually, compared to, you know, oh, I'm just going to ghost them, or, you know, or I'm going to fucking, you know, disappear. Or it's just some bullshit, you know, whatever the fuck the terms are these days.
I just like to say to anyone who thinks I did that to them, I didn't ghost you. Facebook ghosted itself. I haven't blocked you. I am not ghosting you. Cosmicgodsdie@gmail.com. Get in touch. That's just for everyone who thinks that because I hate ghosting, and I know the feeling completely. So yeah, I like blunt. I am blunt, and I've never felt any reason to not be blunt. I mean, could I be flowery and
superfluous
if I wanted to? Probably, but why? I mean, it's prog. Opeth is prog wank. That's what it is. Sorry to me. You might love Opeth. You might think Opeth is the best band in the world. And that's great. I'm not going. It's not like my opinion is going to come to your house and smash all your records.
In fact, you can voice your fucking opinion and go, you know, and suck all its cock all you want. Even though it's like, whatever.
See, I've never understood why someone voicing their opinion can get so many feathers riled. Because it's not like my opinion is going to stop you from listening to music.
Yeah, I know, really, and it's not going to stop you from promoting what music you like.
It's not even like my opinion will have any sort of power. Although, I mean, I have like...
It's like, you know, somehow our opinions dictate reality for everyone. It reminds me of this one time. I'm just remembering this one time whenever I was fucking out at fucking up. It was the first Ozfest I went to. Pantera was there, and I was singing along with Becoming. And, like, they'd stop the music so that you would hear the crowd singing. Well, I'm on, like, 4 hits of LSD at the time. And my thought process was that my voice was somehow forcing everyone, and I'm out in the lawn seats, so there's a shit ton of people in front of me. My voice was forcing everyone in front of me to sing the words. But someone behind me was forcing me to sing the words.
Yes.
So that's what this whole mentality sounds like, where it's like, you just rile the feathers and all this shit, and it's like, oh my God, how dare you say that about Metallica, Opeth, and Five Finger Death Punch, and all these other bands that are like fucking ultra big, and everyone knows them, and blah, blah, blah.
And just to prove my opinion has no weight, Becoming is a shit song, and that's a shit record.
Hey, it's the one song I love off that record. Other songs on that record, fine, dandy background music. That song I love.
We got to review that record soon.
Oh God.
Because I don't know,
Because there's some of it that's like, suck. Other parts it's like, okay, this is fine. One song I love, and the rest can, burn.
But that's the whole thing. I've never understood why people, and it's not like I'm replying. I'm commenting on the post. You can ignore my comment if you want, but why do people? I don't know. I've never understood.
Everyone must conform to one idea at all times. God, it's like the, who's a true communist fallacy. In reality, there's only one true communist, and that's the individual communist. Yes. Everyone else is a false communist, therefore true communism can never be tried because only one person knows what true communism is. And you're going to have to execute 90% of the Earth's population in order for people to conform to your vision.
Yes, but they don't like to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is hilarious. It's just this whole big thing where we live in an age where people can't handle. I mean, Jim doesn't like records that I like.
Yeah.
He hates Slam.
I don't hate all of it, but I think I heard like 2 songs.
Whereas I'm not huge into Weird Al. I like the lyrics. I don't know.
Oh, God. His original works, especially, like, the good old days. Torturing rats with the hacksaw and pulling the wings off the flies. Those were the good old days.
And I think he likes some hard rock that I would rather pull out my eyes and eat them.
I'm certain. Yeah. Aside from Zeppelin, I can't think of any bands right now that I actually like. And I don't even like all Zeppelin. There's a decent chunk of it I like, but
I can never get into Zeppelin. I mean, Nuclear Assault did a decent cover of Good Times, Bad Times, but I don't know. My dad likes Zeppelin, so you can't like anything your dad likes.
Yeah, you can't like anything my dad likes.
Although strangely, he liked David Vincent's country song, which I don't mind actually. I know you hate country. I still say it was more like rockabilly, more like the faster stuff. It's not pop country. See, he hates country. I can tolerate some of the outlaw stuff. I'm not huge into it or really into it. But if you play it, I'm not going to, murder you.
Yay.
But he hates country, which I respect.
I am not. Oh, God. Most country makes me vomit. I think you played some of that outlaw shit only once and was like, that was actually half decent.
Well, yeah.
There was some shit I heard G.G. Allen do that was half decent, but it wasn't like something I'd invest in.
A lot. G.G. stuff is sort of hit and miss, but some of his country stuff is actually really good. But I thought country when I was growing up was Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson or whatever, and then I heard some of the outlaw stuff. And I was like, this is more interesting at least. So we all have our different music. I mean, he likes, stuff. So we all have our different, but we give each other a hard time over it, but we're not gonna start yelling randomly because you said a bad thing about a record I like.
All right, I can't fucking find the exact post. But I remember basically what it said. It was something along the lines of, you know, I hate it whenever disabled people say I'm working through it, or, something along the lines of, I'm doing as good as I can. You know, just a different inflection of it. Because that means, people who have it worse, are gonna, like, hate you or some sort of, like, fucking shaming bullshit kind of random shit. I wish I could find it so I could get the exact wording, because I can't think like that. But I remember the thing pissed me off so bad. It's like, I know people who had it bad off. Far worse than I did. I rode the short bus. I fucking socialized with people that fucking, had it far worse than I did. Physically, mentally, emotionally. I've seen the gamut.
So have I. Remember, I rode the short bus for 12 years.
And the way the phrase was worded, it was supposed to be a pep talk. Like, I know you can't do shit, all the shit you want, but do what you can. And I remember that the main counter argument I had against it was Stephen Hawking. Okay? I mean, this was a guy that was not getting any better. He was just getting progressively worse each and every day. And how far did he go with fucking, declaring, getting ideas rolling in the physics community? How many theses did he found? Who he differed with? What kind of discussions were had? How much did he move, physics forward? And this is a guy that, as time went on, most of his people didn't really get to know him until after the disorder put him in a wheelchair, and he could only communicate by moving his eyes on a fucking screen to hit letters, which the device registered, and you'd hear a vox speak instead of him. If you got some of his earlier recordings of him, he actually had an assistant speak for him, as all you heard from him was blah, 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 blah. So unless you spoke fluent Aussie, you wouldn't be able to understand him.
And actually, he was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I rode the short bus from kindergarten to part of 12th grade when my mom and sister started driving me, which was fantastic because I could get up an hour later. And, I didn't have to ride an hour and a half of school bus. The only downside was I didn't mind sometimes because I could listen to music, but whatever. Anyway, and there were people who couldn't talk. People who couldn't understand, people who had the mental age of 2, people in wheelchairs, and people who were just blind. It was a whole game. I've never really considered. I mean, it's always weird when people, oh, you poor blind thing. I'm like,
okay, I was molested at the age of 7, got bullied some, had some counseling. Almost got over it. Then at 11, I sustained an injury during fucking football practice. And when I got over really quickly, because it was just a severely sprained ankle, but me being young and a pussy, started crying like it was broken. So I was walking on a cast pretty shortly after, and I was called faker, and that brought up the whole entire "you fucking cock-sucking faggot, we know you sucked cock and liked it," and all this shit, and all this bullying came out, and I went completely suicidal. So I fucking signed myself into a loony bin because I recognized this wasn't regular mentality.
yes.
When I got out of the loony bin, I went into a partial program for a few years. So I got to see, the full spectrum of, every mental state from complete, you have an literal IQ of like 30. I have met people who, this is not an exaggeration, people. We're talking that level of mental retardation.
Yes.
Because that's where I was in the loony bin and through the partial program, riding the short bus. I met people like that, I've seen people with all different kinds of psychoses. I have fucking, hell, one of the things I did after, I mean, whenever I went a partial program. Our gym class was hitting up the YMCA for swim lessons and shit. And I got into swim meets and shit, and I got into junior lifeguard training, which I never used to get employment anywhere, but to get extra time, in the swimming pool, I signed up to help those who had a variety of disorders and teach them how to swim, or at least help them to swim, because the one kid I was with, like, his body did not work. So I had to hold him the whole time and try to get him to move what muscles he could. And I couldn't sit there and, force him to do anything. And most of the time it was just me holding him while he floated. That was it, And, so I know a lot of fucking mental and physical disorders. I've encountered them. I've met people with them. Yep. I've conversed with them. I've even befriended a couple.
I was in...
So you sitting there saying, someone attempting to give the pep talk of, like, I'm doing my best to overcome it, is something that needs to be shamed. Whenever the entire idea of saying, oh, wow, you're just, like, ableist. God, that was one of the words included in the statement. They call people ableist.
Oh, yes, I know.
You're calling disabled people ableist.
Or neurotypical.
Yeah, shit like that. And it's like, fucking... Oh, no, What the people saying, the pep talk are trying to do is lift people's spirits and get them to do better for themselves and perhaps have a better outlook on life, even though it completely fucking sucks. But then you bastards fucking are pretty much saying, abandon all hope, ye who enter life, and our worldview, because you're not allowed to try to do better for yourself, because you're in a static position, and it's always going to suck. But we got the cure, even though it's still going to always suck, we got the cure.
It's like the people who say, you've probably seen this, April Fool's jokes, I'm pregnant, haha, I'm not. That they should stop making jokes like that because some people can't have kids and it might be traumatizing. When I was 14, I was going through, I really was an edgelord back then, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because I called myself the next Gigi Allen, except for I was, a pussy. I wasn't gonna, I was
probably closer to being the next Gigi Allen when you were 14, because
I
was degenerate fucking.
So anyway, but so I would make these grand proclamations and things like that. But one of the things is I didn't want to talk to anyone unless they knew the kind of music I liked, which is a bit narrow-minded and whatever.
God.
Anyway. So,
just to interject here, I hung out with, metalheads back in the old school days when we actually differentiated between metalheads, those that like debating the ideas brought up in the music, and metal fans, those who just thought it was cool and sung along.
Yes.
And the whole entire point was to find those ideas you disagree with, engage them, entertain them, see if they had any merit, take what did, and discard the rest.
But you also have to realize that I can't see none. So I had no idea of finding out who was into the music or not. So basically, I didn't have any friends. I would go to school, do whatever, go home, listen to music, punk records and metal records, and watch racing. And now I was fine with that. Now, in the old days, I would just be called a loner and a weirdo, and they would leave me alone. The teachers did not like that I wasn't making friends, and they wondered if it was some sort of developmental disorder. So they put me in a social skills class with high-functioning autistic kids, which the jury is still out of whether or not I am high-functioning autistic. I think everyone is in their own
Jury's
way.
out on that, but they didn't even have a diagnosis for that back whenever I was in a straitjacket.
So I went into this class, and it was really eye-opening Hey, eye-opening. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
Pun not intended, actually. But it was eye-opening because there were people who were almost, I don't want to say normal because normal sounds, you know, but there are people, very bright, well-adjusted people. There are people a little bit worse. And then there was Herbert. I'm going to use his name because I don't care. I haven't seen him 12 years.
Yeah, we don't
Herbert
have a last
was,
name. Don't give it.
I don't remember his last name. Herbert reminded me of Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Ooh.
Um, he was interested in a girl, so he stalked her all around the school. And he really did talk like this. Yes, he was definitely a problem. He had problems. So I got to meet everyone from like I said, the people who were, well adjusted to him, and everyone in between. That was kind of an eye opener for me because I didn't realize, because I had seen a Mice and Men in middle school, and I was like, oh yeah, this don't go on any dates here. But and then there was another guy who was about like that. Oh, he loved Michael Jackson. This other kid. So I used to annoy him. I used to say, "All hail Conrad Murray, his doctor who killed him," or whatever. Um, he was after I left school. Herbert was way ahead of me. He graduated or left school or whatever. But this other kid, after I left school, he was stalking a girl he wasn't interested in, and her boyfriend pushed him down a flight of stairs. Another time he was stalking a girl and wasn't paying attention to the road and was hit by a car. He lived, but that's so I'm familiar with these experiences. And like I said, on the bus we had people who couldn't talk, people who, you know, literally couldn't understand 4 words. So I'm familiar with all these, as you said, all these people, all these conditions. Um,
Just to
so
say,
yeah,
I'm not able to diagnose them, but I am familiar with them.
no, I'm
I'm
not
more apt at
surprised.
diagnosing actual schizophrenia, though, because, yeah, members of my family had it, and I've been around it enough. That's one disorder I actually kind of have down pat and know what the signs are.
Schizophrenia is an interesting one. I liked. I had a friend who had a relative who would randomly start screaming for no reason. Perfectly fine, but then would just start screaming, and then would, after a couple minutes, would stop screaming and not know why they screamed. So,
See, my Aunt Betsy, she's dead now, so whatever with her name. She always complained about they and them. And they would wire her rugs so that you would feel electricity going up your legs, and they would throw cat piss all over her furniture. And I remember back during my fucking degenerate teens, where, I knew these were psychotic delusions, but $20 or $50 is $20 and $50. So she would accuse someone of working for them, and I'd go out and do something, like put mothballs in their gas tank or some bullshit.
uh, uh, I remember a story about someone who probably schizo. They weren't sure. And one day they came home and the walls were covered in tinfoil. The windows were covered in tinfoil and Bible passages. Why? The Japanese were attempting to sneak in and steal all their secrets. So that's interesting. The Japanese,
Completely sane.
yeah, completely sane. I don't know what secrets they had. So I'm familiar. So I mean, it's always been weird to me when people, oh, you poor blind person. It's so amazing how well you cope with your blindness, and I'm just like, I'm not even coping. It's just what I do. I've
See,
been like this my whole life.
see, I understood that concept, but I still asked how you did certain things because I was curious. It was to
There's a
satisfy my
difference.
own curiosity, but it
There's a
wasn't.
difference
But I
between.
understand this is just how your life is, and like sometimes like, wow, I'm impressed you could do that. It's like, well, it was just this and that. Oh, okay. And you're using, all the fucking keyboard commands that like I ignore because I just point and click.
Yes, yes. My okay. Here's a funny story, and then I'll tell you. My dad gave me an old keyboard that had been in the garage, and it works fine except for the Windows key, which didn't work. I need the Windows key to open up some menus and stuff. He didn't see the problem with it because he never used that key. I was like, yeah, I use that key a lot. No, see, there's a difference between curiosity, which I'm fine. I'll answer whatever question. I'm not defensive about it. But there's a difference between curiosity and like patronizing amazement or whatever. And
I mean,
don't get
figuring
me,
out as many. I know Control C, Control V.
yeah,
Oh
Control
yeah,
A as
Alt
well.
Tab, Shift Tab.
Yes, but there's and don't get me wrong. If someone is impressed, that it's always kind of interesting. Like, wow, maybe what I'm doing is kind of different. But wow, you poor blind person, you've really persevered through this. I'm like, persevered through what? It's just what I had to do. It's
I'm sorry, but I just came across a picture of like some crying baby. In one picture, then the picture right below it's like this girl with a flirty look, and it says, "When in doubt, whip it out." And I don't know if they mean, time to give breast milk, or if they mean let's have another baby.
both.
I don't know, lactating chicks is kind of fun,
Yeah,
I like.
well,
Some of them have some good tasting breast milk.
man-seeking woman must have good tasting breast milk.
And be continually lactating for the rest of your natural born life. What?
Oh, ah, help! So, there's a difference there between, like I said, curiosity and interest, which is still a bit strange, but is kind of interesting, and I don't mind that. And then, like I said, there's people who like think I'm some sort of survivor. It's what have I survived?
You're
I
blind. Big whoop.
I was born blind. It's not like
I
maybe if
mean,
I
I'll admit it's a pain in the ass to describe things to you whenever we play video games, half the time. But then sometimes, something just so amazing happens that I have to describe to you the fucking play for play because there's no way you wouldn't enjoy. And then his head flew and hit me in the balls, and then I started eating his crotch.
see if I had lost my sight at a later age, I could maybe understand it. But
Yeah, you were
the
born
phrase
this way.
the phrase I hate is differently abled.
Yeah, I fucking hate that.
As George Carlin said, we're all differently able. I can do things you can't do. You can do things I can't do. I can scratch my balls and
Fart at the same time.
fire at the same time. Maybe other people can't. Maybe other people, their asshole just closes right up when they try to scratch the balls.
Uh-huh.
So it's just, and again, I mean, these are subjects. Oh God, if you even try to bring this stuff up, you're an ableist or you're mocking someone. I'm not mocking when I describe him as Lenny from Mice and Men. That's literally what I thought of. I mean, I'd like to have a nicer description, but I can't
Uh-huh.
because that's
Yeah,
what
I
I
know.
thought of.
Oh, God.
But people, again, we're so repressed in these days
And
because
there's just so many layers to things. It's like, okay, I am a god within my own mind. That is my size of ego. So I do multiple things to kick myself in the ass so my ego isn't as big. And I hate explaining this because whenever I was a kid, okay, I used to boast about being humble. Okay.
Oh yeah, I know people like that.
And the whole thing
Usually
is you're
they're in
taking
12 step.
pride and humility. Those are two mutually exclusive ideas. No, you can't do that because you're actually being purely pride filled. You're not being humble at all whenever you boast about being humble.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know people like that. Most
And
of them
that's
are in
just one of
12
the
step
many
programs.
reasons I don't like explaining it. But, you know, I sit there and say, I just love being trailer trash. And the girl that just broke up with me because she considered it more or less on good terms, she came up all concerned. Well, what's wrong? Who did something this time? Well, no one did anything wrong. I was having a good day. I
Yeah,
was actually celebrating something. And yeah, part of me calling myself trailer trash is to bring me low and be humble. The other part is being trailer trash means I don't have to pretend to be the good guy. If I am a good guy, my actions will dictate it. You
I
know,
realize.
if I'm neutral, then my actions will dictate that. I mean, people usually call me a chaotic neutral bordering on evil. Some people say, but I'm such a nice guy, But it's like, I don't care about you make these judgments for yourself. I can't put it in your head that I'm a good guy. I
See,
would rather be the bottom rung. And if you hold me in some sort of higher esteem, fine, so be it. I'm going to argue with you, though, because I'd rather be fucking trailer trash. The lowest common denominator, because fuck it. My actions will dictate who I am. You can make your judgments based off that. And if me calling myself trailer trash is enough to scare you away, then you're not going to be capable of handling anything I discuss. Period. Ever. Because you're too highfalutin, snooty, fucking... You're a fucking church mom, or a fucking soccer mom, or a fucking Karen, or a fucking Pharisee, as they called him back in the days of Jesus. You're too highfalutin to
well,
want to mingle with the common folk.
people think that that's a bad thing. I call myself a degenerate. I realize I'm not quite trailer trash, although there probably is some blood in there. But I call myself a degenerate, and people, even in my family, you're not a degenerate. I'm like, I
Yes, you
think
are. Fucking
I
shit. You just told me that you wished fucking more video games had an option for cannibalism. That's a very degenerative thought. Consuming people.
do you remember the game I was playing where I was able to push the guy off the tower? I came down off the tower, and what's the first thing I tried to do?
Eat them.
Eat him. Or, I mean, you've seen some of the porn I read.
Oh, God. The mind control shit. Oh, fuck. Some of that gets more depraved than what you and I got called for. But I have to expose myself to it.
Some of it even makes me wince. It's like, wait, did you? Oh my god!
Did
But
you
yet
just
some of
force
it's-
your brother to fuck you? Dear God.
and breed?
Yeah, the fucking fine, the breeding, oh God. You're fucking having inbred babies now.
Oh my god! And now it's so yeah, some of that stuff. I mean, and it as you were talking about how it kind of makes you uncomfortable, but you kind of like it because it makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's sort of my with the really depraved stuff. It's like part of me isn't sure I should be reading this.
I mean, and you have to remember, and one thing, for the viewers at home, which is going to be way too much information for you, trigger warning, or whatever the fuck you guys say these days. Yeah, I'm really into the whole entire dirty daddy little girl kind of thing, Chicks I date call me daddy and, want me to treat them like they're a fucking teenager. One even wanted me to treat her like she was a 4-year-old. But,
That would be
you
a
have to
little-
remember, this isn't like, oh, wow, I'm living out some pedo fucking incest urge. No, it's playing with the taboo. Because I want the fully grown woman. A 4-year-old does not turn me on. It's going after that mentality and pushing something forbidden.
And I mean, I don't read the incest stuff because it turns me on in that way. It's something different. It's like, wait,
it's like me and this one girl, we're sitting there talking and shit. Like, this is after we hit it off and got pretty damn close to fucking after a date, and we're talking online and shit. And she's like, oh, wouldn't it be twisted if I was your sister? And it's like, yeah, and then we'd fuck, And I was making a joke saying, yeah, we'd fuck growing up and all this shit all the time. And she's like, then she took it seriously for a moment. I know you wouldn't. It's like, yeah, I know. The entire thought of fucking my own sister is repulsive to me.
Yes.
But in that little sick, twisted realm we were in for, kink, that's what we were going with.
Oh yeah. It's. I mean, I read, and you've seen the bug shit I read. Wait. So now
Diana got you turned on to that, didn't she?
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. I found it randomly, but I shared it all with her.
Yeah, she sent me a link to some of the fucking insect hentai, and you got everything from your bug type Pokemon to fucking maggots breeding out of tits.
Wait, so now you're a nest? I don't actually find that hot in a conventional way, but yet I do in a strange. So it's all weird.
It's like one of those things where you push the forbidden, the disgust, and make yourself, go against your own nature to do something. But this is complete role play fantasy. So it's not like, you're actually taking the things that disgust you with it,
Yeah, exactly. It's
because, you're sitting there fucking maggots. Well, that's going to breed disease.
And there's
other things which are sickening about it, but that's one of the major points.
Well, and after the deed is done, I do think about the consequences, and I that's why I messaged you with. So yeah, I just read a thing about a girl who is bred, and do you know the inbred babies and they're gonna have all these genetic defects.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
And she sent out a tape and got it leaked to the world, so now the world's completely incestuous. Do you realize the population is just gonna go downhill?
The population is gonna just fucking bottleneck and keel off.
And but the author didn't think about that, so I found the idea hilarious, and so I sent it to you. Well, not the thing which has been deleted, but the outline and the idea. So we talk about stuff like that, and I have no shame. That's why I'm sharing it here. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of reading that stuff, but we would rather you keep that in the private area or whatever. And that's another thing is we don't have much shame. I mean, you've shared most of your party stories.
I mean, I don't understand this concept of guilty pleasures. I understand the concept of someone enjoying things that their personality dictates they shouldn't. Like me and Weird Al. Okay, yeah, I understand. I listen to fucking Cannibal Corpse, Megadeth, Slayer. Oh God, love Slayer. Love my Maiden. Love my fucking Gwar.
Me and the Power.
And then you want to know the biggest nerd thing that happened to me? It was like this complete nerd out. Like, oh my God, this is awesome. Gwar did a cartoon and had Weird Al as a guest star on it.
I'm even Weirder Al.
It was like, oh my God, yes, two of my favorite musicians. And Odorous is wearing Weird Al's face. It's great.
It's sad that wasn't a series. I wanted Weird Al to be like the arch enemy. He could team with Techno Destructo.
Oh yeah, that would have been fucking awesome.
But I mean, I don't understand guilty pleasure because I like some pop bands. Nothing really mainstream. They're pretty obscure stuff, but I like some pop bands. Some really light pop bands, but they write amazing melodies that I can't get out of my head. I'm not going to deny that I like these bands. You know, I'm not going to, why do you have this on your iPod?
I mean, to me, what a guilty pleasure would be taking a hammer to someone's face in a moment of pure rage. Because I'd probably feel guilty over assaulting someone over something as petty as what would come to mind to do it in a moment of pure rage. Because it's like, that was very small of me. I just pretty much hammered, bludgeoned, murdered someone to death over, them cutting me off in traffic. And yeah, it sucks, and I could have gotten in an accident, but, there was no accident because I had control of my vehicle.
The thing about guilty pleasures is people are more than one thing. I mean, it doesn't really apply because I'm very open about it, but I am a huge fan of metal, and I also love motor racing, as anyone who's been around me for 2 minutes.
I used to call myself a death metal hippie until I learned exactly how much of the bourgeois the fucking hippies actually wore, and they were the fucking champagne fucking socialists. That was the leaders of the movement doing that, the people who had the money and got things going, and everyone else that attached themselves to it, from the musicians to everything. Most of them didn't really pay attention to that because it was all about booze, anti-war, and free drugs.
I like the weird strains
so,
of the hippies,
whenever I still bought into the romanticized version of it, I called myself a death metal hippie. But but you look at the two, they hate each other. Yeah, in the words of Cartman, hippies hate Slayer.
They don't hate each other anymore. You should go on some death metal groups.
Yeah,
Maybe right at home with the death metal. But the whole thing is so for me, I remember showing Eric, the sometime guy who comes on the show every now and then, a power pop band that I like. I don't remember the name. I don't remember which one it was. He thought I was joking or something because, I like bands called Extreme Noise Terror. And he played it to me. I was like, yeah, I like this band. He was like, wait, you're serious? Because he thought that I was... he thought there's no way I could like power pop as well as black metal. And I'll admit, I don't like most...
I mean, I sit there and I talk with, some people, and it's like, yeah, we're talking about classic band, classic composers,
Yeah.
And, different compositions and shit. And you'd think that, I wouldn't be into it because all I listen to is that distorted devil music. Even though I sit there and say, yeah, but you listen to some of the earlier bands, you could tell some of them were classically inspired and blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't really matter because I'm not defending that to a bunch of metalheads. There's no way to defend it to, like, normies who can't grasp, how can you go from this extreme to that extreme? Well, can't you hear the complex melodies? And they can't, and the thing is, they could, even though they're like, they might enjoy the classical music, they couldn't hear the complex melodies because, the full orchestra's playing. Yes. Meanwhile, I could because my ears are trained to do so because of the metal I listen to.
Especially on a
and
shitty...
whenever people listen to metal, it's like, oh my god, it's just noise. If you actually sit there and listen to the good shit, you'll hear a lot of complex melodies that just, oh my god, glorious war in your head.
So the whole thing about guilty pleasures is it's either I'm ashamed to like this mainstream thing, which or I can't be I like metal, but like I said, I'm a huge fan of the band Bad Religion, which is kind of not pop punk, but melodic sort of.
They're
punk
more
rock.
poppy, yes.
Yes. But they write strong melodies. I've always said I don't like Green Day. It's not. It's my not liking Green Day has nothing to do with the fact that they're mainstream.
No,
they
suck.
In this style of music that they play, none of their melodies captivate me. If they wrote good songs, I would be a fan. Like I said,
yeah.
I mean,
Well, fucking, I listen to fucking Megadeth and Slayer. Those are two really big names. If all I did was listen to the underground, I wouldn't be listening to them.
Amon Amarth.
Mm-hmm.
People hate Amon Amarth because they're mainstream.
I love this shit.
I think that whereas Arch Enemy is a band that I don't really like past a certain period, not because they got big, but because they got lazy as hell in songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I heard an album recently by Arch Enemy, a full album. You know how many good riffs it had? 3. It had 3 riffs that I could honestly want to listen to again. The rest was boring. So that's at the same
it's
time.
It's like let's break this down for another group of people. It's like the debate between which is better in Dungeons and Dragons, 3.5, 4, or 5. And then you got that weirdo saying, second was better, which I can't even really see that much of an argument for. They had a lot more licensing things going on, a lot more ideas going on. If you meant that, fine. But, they took most of those ideas for 3.5. 4 was just, oh my god, that sucked. That was just pure, okay, how can you min-max for battle? That was it. Very boring.
Let me get it from another angle here. As I said, I'm a huge fan of motorsport.
Mm-hmm.
So, a guilty pleasure would be monster trucks. I love monster trucks. I make no secret. I can watch Formula One and World Touring Car and all the great races from around the world with European road racing. And I can watch monster trucks. I'm not huge on freestyle, basically because I can't see what's going on, so it doesn't really matter. But how can you not love that sound?
Mm-hmm.
And they're massive. And, so that would be, people try to hide the fact, I can watch monster trucks every night. No, I like them. I legitimately enjoy them. So, I guess that, or a guilty pleasure. Someone liking a song offload, which is great if you like a song offload.
You can fucking like the whole album. I don't give a shit. I just want to vomit when I hear it.
I don't like the whole album. I don't want to hear it, but I'm not going to stop you from listening. So yeah, that's the thing.
If you're at my house, we're not listening to it. If we're at yours, fine. Listen to what you want.
If Jim makes fun of me for liking, power pop with female vocals, I won't really care because I like it.
I mean, if we're on some fucking internet hangout and you put too many annoying songs, yeah, I might skip them. But, if we're taking turns with the playlist, then fine,
Well,
I'll sit there and suffer through a couple suck-ass ones.
I also know that there's a time and a place. I like a band called Cunt and the Gang, which is like electronic. It's not like hip-hop, but it's like electronic music with humorous lyrics. Okay?
See, I like some Lords of Acid. That's pretty much electronica with some fucking more porn-driven and druggy lyrics.
I don't know how to do it. It's not like melodies and shit. But anyway, the point is, I might show that to you, or whatever. I think I did. I think Eric did. You said, "Man, now it's not really." But if we're listening to a bunch of death and black metal, I'm not going to play Cunt and the Gang. I'm not going to play the Shivers, or one of the power pop bands.
But we're just playing on a random playlist, then yeah, fine.
Here's
whatever
the
comes in, you'll just probably get some Weird Al and some other shit that annoys you out of it. You might hear Pantera even.
Look Blue Go Purple, which is incredibly girly pop. And by that I mean it's all girl pop. And yet I can't some guy showed it to me and I was like, oh my fucking god, I love this band. And it's the furthest thing from black metal or death metal, but I don't care. But again,
and the thing is, we make fun of each other all the time. We threaten to murder each other all the time. That's how good friends we are. But
yes.
It's fucking whatever.
Well, it's the same with TV shows. I have to hide that I secretly watch this TV show. You were telling me about the girl shows you watched.
Gem and the Holograms from the 1980s. I actually got, and it's funny because it's kind of an excuse because the way my house was structured back in the day, with Dad wanting to rule the roost and all this other fucking bullshit, which one of the things was you had to be sitting there watching the TV or the channel got changed for boring sports. So if I wanted my Saturday morning cartoons, I had to sit there through all the cartoons to get to Robotech. Which, yes, I know Macross is better, but I was a fucking kid at the time. I didn't have access to, anime or any of that shit. I didn't have the fucking dial up to the BBS to start geeking out with nerds. Yeah. I loved Robotech, and I wanted to see that. And because it was like such an awesome thing to me, a cartoon which had real drama and tried to fucking do things realistically, even though it was giant robot war with genocidal aliens. They tried to impact with real emotions and had, an actual plot instead of the reset button being hit after every episode,
Yeah.
So, I was just so amazed by this. I had to watch it. But to get to it, I had to sit through Gem and the Holograms. And, I ended up liking it. It actually did some of the same things. It seldom hit the reset button. Even though each episode could be taken, most episodes could be taken contained, there were so many subplots going on that it was continuous if you paid attention to all the subplots, all the different character development as the show went on. And it was the thing was originally designed to market,
toys,
but the show was actually well written.
It had a pretty big male following from what I understand.
80s kids shows as far as they went, but to me it was even better than Transformers at points because, once in a while Transformers would move the timeline forward instead of resetting it every time.
It had a pretty big male following from what I understand. Because can I just, a girl I was interested showed me that show. And I was and if I'm being honest, I was weirdly captivated by it.
I know.
Because first off, it's so 80s, it's painful. But also, none of the kid shows I watched had a plot. I mean, they had, the adventures of, Rugrats or whatever.
The microcosm plot, but not the, overarching theme plot.
And it had a kind of complex plot for a kid show. So, yeah, I actually got into it later on. Oh my God, did I just admit to that?
Yeah. But, it's not even a guilty pleasure. I fucking openly stated this in public forums and shit. Yeah, I liked the show. And I went back to rewatch it, and there was still some redeeming factors in it, even though my tastes have changed.
I watched...
No, I still haven't stopped rooting for the Misfits to win. Fuck Gem.
See, I could never... Because they were just so fucking bratty.
The Misfits?
Yeah, but then the heroes were so altruistic. It was just...
Yeah, but the thing was, back as a kid, I didn't really pay attention to the bratty part of it. And today I still cheer for it because, I'm metal. And fuck Danzig.
I always... I'm sorry. I always wondered if Danzig.
I didn't know. I don't. He's trying to sue the world. I don't understand why he didn't sue Hasbro.
Well, because he doesn't own that skull. It's the Crimson Ghost from the serial Crimson Ghost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know how he. So yeah, I mean, but I mean, I don't really see any conflict with. Yeah, okay, you're an adult watching a kid show from before your time, but again, a girl I was talking to, and I wasn't just she was like, here, watch this. I think you might laugh at it, but to understand what I liked is as a kid, because she was around my age, but she had a older sister or whatever. So she showed, like I said, I was weirdly captivated by it. I don't know, but I'm not ashamed of it or anything.
But still, you can't go wrong with, a band that commits arson, attempts murder. It's like,
They chilled out a lot. Like the first couple episodes, they tried to actually kill him, and then they chilled out.
yeah.
So that's yes, you gotta like bands that commit arson. It's the source of the internet just had a conversation about fucking
Linking Gem and the Holograms to black metal. What the fuck?
Yes. Oh my god. But again, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the things that I get ashamed of are more actions I took that I feel remorse for.
Did you ever watch Daria?
I tried to.
I have.
I couldn't get into it.
I don't know.
Because it was like taking Beavis and Butthead, but attempting to make it pretentious and like smart.
Well, it's better if you treat it as not Beavis and Butthead. If you don't treat
Maybe
it
I
as
should
that,
rewatch it again now years later, but I just remember I couldn't because I couldn't detach it from Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And it's better without the music. The bad '90s alt rock and stuff.
Oh god, that also made me want to vomit.
It's better with the stock music. I think you should give it another chance. I honestly quite liked it, and I liked how they deconstructed it later. Because at first it was her smugness, her deadpanness, getting revenge on all the people, and then they deconstructed it and actually made me think about my own life.
Interesting.
So I recommend watching. And again, the same girl made me watch that. Well, got me to watch that. So yeah, if you need to detach it from it's not Beavis and Butthead. It's not even. So,
yeah, I know it's not Beavis and Butthead. It's just.
I know. I saw a lot of sort of her in myself as a kid, and I was like, she can make points, but also be kind of annoying. So I don't know. It was a weirdly like personal thing for me. So yeah, I recommend watching it again. But yeah, these are shows I also like. But I could talk about those, and I could also talk about Monster Garage. The show. I don't know if you ever saw Monster Garage.
Oh, what the fuck was the name of that? I know you probably know the name of it because you had to have seen it. Apaches, that was it. It was about the kids on a farm dying from all this fucked up shit.
Oh, Apaches was great.
And like, I remember saying in a thread there that the fucking movie reminded me of my childhood. And the first thing was like, oh my god, your childhood was filled with murder and blah, blah, blah. And the thing was, no, it wasn't murder. It was people being stupid and having consequences for their own stupidity. I remember the farm life too, because, Grandma had a farm, but...
Charlie Brooker mentioned...
But like we were told, don't go drinking gasoline.
You saw the same thing. You saw the same... The Charlie Brooker thing probably got you into it as well as I did, as well as me. And he made the good point that, why would you keep returning to the farm after it already killed most of your friends?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's nothing else to do. But... one of my other favorite shows as a kid, and this is much more what you'd think of me, is... have you ever seen Monster Garage?
I have in passing. I don't really have an interest in it, but, it's not, annoying.
It was a show, for people who don't remember, it was a show where Jesse James, this biker dude, would take a car, say he would take, a Ford Mustang, and he and a crew would have 7 days to turn it into a lawnmower. And it had a metal sound, or what I thought was metal at age 9 soundtrack, and it was very, brutal and loud and fire and cars being torn apart. It was much more what you'd think when you think of me. So that was one of my favorite shows. But like I said, kids shows during my day, they never really had a story arc. They would have as you said, a micro plot, but they would always hit the reset button. So watching shows from the 80s,
like you'd get, like, for G.I. Joe, you'd have your, like, week-long thing, which actually moved the timeline forward. But then the rest of the season was reset button, reset button, reset button, and the moving the plot forward was just to introduce the new toys. I mean, characters.
Exactly. One of the shows I liked as a kid was Rugrats. I'm sure we all know what that show is.
Mm-hmm.
And they would introduce a character in the movie, and it would be a new character, and that would be a plot point. But then they just reset button, reset button, reset button, reset, and then every now and then there'd be a two-parter episode. So that was something I thought was interesting, going back and watching 80s kid shows, where it was like, first off, it's a little bit more adult than what we were. I mean, sadly, I missed out on Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, that is depressing.
Well, I mean, I saw it later, but when I was like 9 or 10, but I missed a...
Yeah, that's what every kid needs in their childhood, just that complete randomness, and that gets the creativity going, because it's just like, what the fuck?
Well, that's the problem with the adult party cartoon, was they tried to make it vulgar, but the whole point about Ren and Stimpy was it was as vulgar as you could get as a kid show, and that was the charm.
Yeah, and another thing was they tried going, I mean, I could understand. I know the character of Ren, and him telling Stimpy, "I'll fucking kill you." That's in character. But then they tried pushing the gay thing way, way too much.
Yeah.
The whole thing was to flirt with it, not to actually push it in your face, Flirting with it was fine, And it's not like, oh, wow, we should... No. If you want fucking gay characters, go for it. These characters always flirted with it. It was always part of the... It was like Bugs Bunny cross-dressing,
Yeah. So anyway...
Except it was taken a couple steps further to really insinuate things, but it didn't, That was part of the charm, saying, this is the taboo. But, we're... And it's one of the things that actually got people thinking, If you want to go into the whole entire everything's political nonsense, it's one of those things that got people thinking, was seeing the taboo being pushed, but not crossed.
Yes. So, like I said, watching those old shows, they were a lot more adult than what I had when I was a kid. And like I said, there were actually, I don't want to say complex plots, but they were semi-complex plots. And they were, they actually made you sort of think and remember things. Whereas when I was a kid, like I said, it was, that was a fun episode. And then that has, next episode, they're going to do something completely unrelated. Whereas, oh no, that's still on fire. Oh.
Genocidal space robot war, Robotech. Even though, I mean, I haven't seen the other two shows. I've seen Macross, which, and it was pretty faithful to the damn original Macross. It just didn't, get as adult as it could have.
Yeah.
But as a kid in the 1980s, it was pretty damn adult with its themes. I mean, and people died. Like,
yes,
you were gone. There was no like, oh wow, he's back now. No, he's dead. Deal with it.
Yep. And as I mean, when I was a kid, you were not. I mean, you were never allowed to say die. It was always, botted or whatever, and that never happened as a kid. No one. The first time I remember seeing someone die for real, not like a movie, but like a TV show, was The Simpsons, where Maude Flanders died. Because I was a fan of The Simpsons at like 7 or 8 or whatever. I was like, oh wow, someone actually died on that show. And they're not coming back. But that was only because the actor left the show. That wasn't because they wanted to spice things up. So, yeah, like I said, watch it, and I don't know.
I mean, there's an old Ren and Stimpy song that was like, "The Lord loves a hangin'," And like you watch the episode that's tied to it, ends on this note where like, the two guys that were looking for someone to hang found out that the fat one had no neck and the skinny one's too light to lynch. So let's hang ourselves. And it ended up with them, in this dark ghetto with the two guys strung up now. And it's like, people would say that's dark. I call it hilarious.
Thankfully, a cable channel showed Ren and Stimpy, so I got to see it at like age 10 or whatever. And I thought it was actually pretty funny. And then Invader Zim was pretty dark for a kid show.
You see, I saw parts of it, but I was into other things at the time.
Well, yeah, you were a lot older too.
Yeah.
I always liked Invader Zim because it was pretty, like I said, it was pretty dark for a kid. I still enjoy. I've watched it recently. It's still enjoyable in its own weird way. And then there was the reboot of Speed Racer, which I don't think anyone ever died, but people did get injured after in those crashes. Although, of course, it wasn't as good as the original. And then there was Robot Wars, my favorite show, which was basically Robot Wars, but they claimed that kids made the robots, which is like, bullshit. But I didn't care about that. I just wanted to see robots fighting.
Mm-hmm.
But so I had some pretty cool stuff, and of course getting into horror was thanks to the band The Misfits, the other Misfits.
The real life Misfits, yeah.
I love the lyrics, and I mean I still listen to them. Yeah, the Misfits are melodic as hell, but I still listen to them because well, if you like death metal, you can't love anything with melody.
But death metal has melody. You just don't have the ears for it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't love anything that's like, with clean vocals or that song or whatever. That's something I heard the other day. Meanwhile, I'm singing along to Brain Eaters.
I'm sorry, I just have a nosebleed from an aneurysm that erupted. I think my brain's about to eat itself now.
Oh dear, I've killed Jim.
But it's like, people just don't... I think just back to our main point here is the fact that I don't get this edgelord shit, okay? People actually think like this. And I know, you don't want to hang with the criminals, you fucking Pharisee bullshit. But, sometimes they got the ideas to move forward. You just don't know.
Well, the thing is, Jim, we're not like... Well, and this also isn't...
I'm not bright and fluffy. I'm like, here, I just shit in my own hand. You want some?
We're the wrong type of wrong.
The wrong type of wrong.
Cardi B is the right type of wrong. Because she was a stripper, and she's been on the edge, but now she's a rapper and a politician.
Did you ever fucking, actually hang out with strippers and hookers? I mean, not fuck them, just hang out and bullshit.
Yeah, I know. See, in the 60s...
I mean, they got some interesting tales to tell, and...
But she's a stripper with a conscience, because she's hanging out with Bernie Sanders.
My favorite stripper tale, okay, was that she was hired by this hooker was hired by this guy, and all she had to do was, this is back, whenever computer terminals were these huge clunky CRT things, cathode ray tube, look it up. And
yeah, I know what a cathode ray tube is.
Yeah, but
other people, you kids.
Yeah, okay, so she was hired by this guy, and she would sit on a shelf right above it and play with herself while he was coding. And what he was coding was a computer virus. And he released it into the world. And he named the virus after her stage name, which she had like 6 dozen, pseudonyms. So, good luck figuring out which one was her. But he named the computer virus after the stripper that pleasured herself on top of his monitor.
That's awesome. My favorite stripper story is...
And the funny thing was, I remember this story distinctly because, 2 weeks after I was told this story, the name came up. in a
Nice.
news story saying that this is the new computer virus sweeping the nation. It's like, oh my God, this wasn't like, I'm looking back saying it after it happened, claim thing. It actually made me think this was credible because she said it before anyone knew this virus existed.
Yep. Awesome. My favorite stripper story, which is much less evil, it's actually one that Doug Stanhope told, and I'll give you the abridged version because you have to hear him tell the full version. Was he got really high with his friends and he wanted a dancer, so he asked for a dancer. The thing is, he wanted an actual dancer to dance, so he had this stripper dance for him because he was high, and it was very bad. It's much funnier the way he says it. But we're the wrong type of wrong. We're supposed to, we've done some stuff on the wrong side of the law, but now we have a conscience, and we're gonna support Bernie Sanders. And like I said, she's the right type of wrong.
Yeah, you gotta be doing everything.
Hell's Angels.
There's no good tale of redemption there. It's just like I jumped from, what rich people do to what rich people do. Instead of, I went from doing the wrong thing to the right thing. And I actually feel...
back in the
you were
60s,
just stripping. That's nothing, okay?
Yeah, but people still...
Okay. I shoplifted a mall into becoming a Walmart. Not me alone. I was part of a shoplifting gang. And yes, it's over-exaggerating a little bit because other people were shoplifting and there was poor management at the mall and there were other factors that went into why it closed and became a Walmart. But for an entire summer, you're losing $1,000 a day, anywhere between 3 to 7 days a week. Okay. Yes. That's not going to do good for your company.
But
and we were that good
then?
Because we had the scheme going.
Yes.
And it's a great thing to boast about because it has multiple tiers. First off, that's hardcore and shit, and fucking rock on, breaking the law. But on the other hand, let's get into the mentality that went behind it, because I was sticking it to the big corporations by fucking them over. And this is all in the name of the little guy. Even though the entire act of those stores closing and dying and all this shit was costing the little guy their jobs, their income.
And he turned it into a Walmart, which is the even bigger guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's more. So, me filled with piss, vinegar, and self-righteousness, I'm doing the good thing by stealing from these bastards. And on top of it, it's realizing that whenever you look back and you say, okay, do you realize that you might think you're doing the right thing now? But if you sit here and actually contemplate what all the consequences of your actions are, you might find out that you're doing something you totally disagree with.
And that's fantastic, but where's your redemption?
I stopped, and
No, not good enough. What's your opinion on Amazon.com?
Fuck them. I try to avoid them if I can.
No, that's actually closer to what they want that I would have liked. Fuck. No, but
I try not to do online shopping unless it's absolutely necessary. If there isn't a store offering what I want, then I go online. If there is, I walk into the shop throwing my money. But you see, most of these people that sit here and cling to these causes saying, I hate Amazon because it's a big soulless corporation, fucking buy shit out of it left and right. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. I actually do try to support. I hate going to Walmart. Okay. And I only go there if A, it's 3 a.m. and I need something, or B, I don't know of any local distributors that sell it. Because if there's a local distributor that sells what I want, I'll go to them first.
Yeah, I mean, I do the Amazon thing just because I live kind of out of the way and it's just easier.
I mean, Yeah, I say all this anti-corporate rhetoric, but I actually walk the fucking walk.
Well, that was one of my thing was I'm gonna smash corporations and I'm gonna eat a Burger King, and then I was like, wait a minute, stop, back up, you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the whole.
Yeah, I don't like corporations. I still eat at Burger King. It's my favorite. Wendy's is my second favorite. I do not like McDonald's.
I like McDonald's.
You can rot in hell then.
Chicken
wait,
nuggets
you'd actually enjoy that.
Chicken nuggets are good. Fuck off.
Everyone dies with my sperm.
Okay. I will admit McDonald's has the worst fast food burgers. I don't get burgers. I get chicken nuggets. So I will give you that. No, but the whole thing with me is,
I mean, if I'm on the road, okay, and I don't know what the fuck's open, I'll hit up places. And sometimes, yeah, I do get in the mood for Burger King because it's damn good shit. Once in a while, I get in the mood for Wendy's. That's damn good shit. But, you know, as for a lot of these other places, I avoid them like the plague. You know, yeah, there's a few corporations I buy their shit, you know, on a fairly regular basis, if you could call it, you know, me being broken. Whenever I can actually afford something I'm in the mood for it, I get it. Though usually I can't afford it, so I don't.
I deal with corporations because I have to, but I mean, I try to support the you know, especially when it comes to music.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta go through hoops to get it off of this service or that service that they're the fucking corporation that they're distributing from. But, you know, if I could get it directly from the band, I'd rather feed them the money directly.
Okay, let's say you wanted to hear 2 albums.
Oh, by the way, buy band merch. They get more of a cut from that.
Let's say you want to buy 2 albums and you've decided to download one for free. Don't ask why you've decided to download one for free, but you've decided to download one for free and buy one because you only have so much money, and you really want to hear both these albums. One album is the new Metallica album. Don't ask why you want to hear the new Metallica album. Just play along. The other is the album by Darkened, the new band from Gord from Ye God Heard Gods. Which one are you gonna buy?
Darkened, because Metallica's got enough money.
Because it's fucking awesome too.
Yeah, it is.
That album is awesome.
It's good. I had to give it more of a listen than fucking 3 licks, though.
So the whole thing. So the whole thing with me is I try to live by a code I can stick to, which is probably a little less anti-corporate than yours, just because I'm a lazy bastard.
Yeah.
And I'm blind.
Yeah. And you know you can't fucking drive places like I can. I just hop in my car and say, you know what, I'm gonna go here and see what fucking retro games they got, or you know whatever the fuck's going on at this store.
Whereas that would be 45 minutes away. Whereas I could just do it on the internet. Which, yeah, I know you're helping the evil empire, but what other choice do I have?
Exactly. I can't sit here and fucking bash you for it, because really, what do you have? No other choice. It's 3 a.m. You need diapers. You know, you're gonna fucking go to Walmart. You're not gonna sit there and fucking wait for a store to open. You need that diaper now because the kid's full of shit. The kid's diaper's full of shit, and you don't want them rolling around your shirt forever.
No.
Especially if the only one you have around to throw on them is one of your favorite shirts, because now you're double fucked.
We're the wrong type of... I mean, back in the 60s, the Hells Angels were sort of, you know, feared but also kind of respected. Mm-hmm. And the punks and the metalheads. These days, it's the social justice people. It's the people who may have once been on the wrong side of the law. Maybe you're still on the wrong. Maybe they're doing police protests, but it's for a good cause. It's for all the little people in the world.
Even if you're a complete fucking pedophile and still like going out and fucking children and putting on tattoos saying that you fuck children.
Oh, I got you a tattoo that says I fuck children, but that was a mistake. It's supposed to say I fucking hate children.
Children, aren't they for eating?
I thought kids were only for eating. Yeah, you can still eat kids, but
You can eat kids, you just can't fuck them.
kids eat free. Eat kids free.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing is we don't have a political cause to support. I mean, other than the party of utter contempt.
Yes. Look, if your kids view us as heroes, you have completely, utterly, and objectively failed them on every conceivable level imaginable, and even a few that aren't.
They also hate. they also hate that we make fun of the right and the left.
Yeah, but why not? Because every idea is full of bullshit.
Because you're supposed to have a side. If you make fun of Biden or the left, you must be a Trump supporter. Oh yeah, look at this page where I scare Trump. Oh, well, oh no, you're just part of the problem then.
Yeah, that's all you could. That's all both sides classify us as part of the problem. No, maybe we're part of the solution, and you're just too pussified to admit it. I doubt it, but hey, it's a possibility.
So there are a lot of things that people don't. I'm not trying to put us up as some sort of paragon of anything. I'm just saying that in our arguments, these are the responses that I get.
And like I was saying with that whole entire, I love being trailer trash. That I only went through a few tiers of what that is. You're just slowly peeling the onion away. Yes, I like to be humble, so that way I don't automatically go into conversation saying I am God, fear me, because that is where my ego is literally at. That needs brought low. I also want people to judge me by my actions more than I want them to just sit there and agree with everything I say.
I have taken steps to curb my ego, but it still comes out. I think I'm a pretty good show host. And I think that there are some shows that I would find less entertaining than this show, which I know for the viewers, they must be thinking, what crack is he on? But I think so I do try to, and I think that if I was ever to host a metal show, that I would do a damn good job. I don't know if that's just ego or if that's just confidence. I'm not sure. As I've said before, I've met people who claim to be humble all the time, brag about being humble. They're in the 12-step program.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I'm not mocking people who are sober or whatever. Sober people, boring. No, I'm kidding.
You see,
but the people.
There was a part here, okay, about judging me by my actions. Because if I sit here and proclaim myself to be this paragon, this good guy, I've already sold out to that point. I know what that entails. And there is a shit ton of lies you not only tell the world, but you tell yourself. Oh, I used to be a criminal scumbag, but, now I've repented and done bloody, 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 blah, and I fucking now sold my soul to something else, which is just equally as soulless. But it's all to maintain this facade. And that's all just putting on a face for polite society. And polite society is nothing but a low-down, double-dealing, backstabbing, fucking perverted fucking sack of bullshit.
Let me give you a polite society thing, because I've been thinking about this for a while. Let's say you've known a friend for a long, long, long time, right? You're lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out that this lifelong friend has cheated on their wife or girlfriend.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you abandon them as soon as you hear about it?
You see, I actually had this conversation not that long ago. And she was going off she found out that he was cheating on her and, with me. And it's like, okay, yeah, I disagree with this, but I'm still kind of here for you as much as I can. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to get away with it or any of that shit. because these are just consequences you're going to have to suffer. But at the same time, you want a shoulder to cry on because things are bullshit. I'm here. And the whole thing is, I can't really totally judge her as complete scum or anyone that cheats, because I've done it myself. And you know what? I cheated on one girlfriend. Multiple times now, but one girlfriend. And after that girlfriend, I broke up with her because, oh wow, it was just too chaotic and all this shit, And I want to do the honorable thing, and, cause her all the heartache now instead of going through a relationship where I couldn't control my cock because I was a huge raging ball of hormones in college, So,
But
but after her, I never cheated on a single girlfriend again.
Yeah, but you know what I'm getting at, because they expect everyone to turn on someone after they find out that they've been unfaithful.
It's like, okay, well, have they treated me wrong personally? No. Okay.
Well,
so now I have to pile on because of the huge group thing? No. Because I know what it's like to get piled on. Fucking shit. I was bullied extensively because, oh my god, you sucked cock at the age of 7. I was bullied again because, look at the dork who came back from the loony bin. I was fucking kicked around and fucking bullshit happened. And you know what? I had to learn to cope and deal and all this shit. And, I'm fucking leading a good life. Meanwhile, I've had bullies apologize to me once they hit adulthood.
Yeah.
And all except for one who did not apologize had a horrible fate visited upon them. Not by me, but by their own doing. They OD'd. They fucking went to prison for something for multiple years. They fucking ruined their own lives. They're dead now because, they did something stupid, and, arrogantly and all this shit. And it's like, yeah, okay, I didn't have to get revenge. They got revenge. They got my revenge for me onto themselves, and I didn't have to lift a finger for it. I just get to sit here and live my life. And I'm not even sitting here saying, oh, wow, I'm going to be overjoyed now that they did this. It's just like weird. It's just one of those things where it's like weird how life works.
Another polite society thing. Let's say a guy breaks up with his ex. And let's say it could be a little bit messy. It could, well, not messy, but, they argue, whatever. Do you suddenly hate the ex and suddenly think she's a low-down tramp? I mean,
I
reserve judgment.
You see, I've been in this situation myself, okay? And the funny thing was, I dated his ex-wife before I introduced them. They got married and shit, and then after they broke up, I dated his ex-wife again. But I'm still friends with him. I didn't abandon him. In fact, I was chief there saying, don't screw him out of his kid. I haven't seen my kids in years. Don't do that to him.
See, I've seen your breakups or whatever sometimes on the chat, but and usually they stop talking to me as well as you because I guess we're a package deal, which I think is hilarious. But I've never gone from oh, she's cool to oh, she left my friend, I have to hate her now. It's like, okay, they had an argument and they broke up. Well, if you're not here anymore. Okay, whatever. I've never had that. Now, if it's blatantly you're blatantly wronged or something like that then I could see passing judgment then. But but I've seen so many people who 2 days ago were talking about how you're part of my family, and then when they break up, oh, you were too good for her, blah, 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 just because they broke up. And that's a polite society reaction. It's just very weird.
I mean, the main thing with polite society, you have to witness that they always want to have something to hold over your head.
Yep.
Because they are social climbers. This is what polite society is. It is nothing but a huge facade, a quick shorthand to hit the top. Okay, So they always want to have that thing hovering over you where, okay, I'm going to push you up even further above me, but now I can step on you to bring myself up.
And I've had friendships with exes, and
That's polite society in a nutshell. That they'll fucking backstab you and destroy you if it makes them look better.
Yes, I've had friendships with exes of friends, and it can be a little awkward at first, but once a couple days go by, it's just like, okay, whatever, they're a friend. I've never felt like I've had to suddenly turn on someone because about the whole cheating thing. Friends have done things I disapprove, doing constantly. I mean, you do things that I regard as pathetic.
I mean, and there's things which I fucking violently disagree with. And there's a thing where it's like, okay, if you were a pedophile, fine, I might cut you out then. There's a very, very good chance I would cut you out then. But murder, I'd probably write you in prison. Maybe not frequently.
Well, there are a couple of things I've done where you were like, I don't even think I would have done that. That's a little bit low for me. And I'm like, yeah, I was kind of ashamed. But at the same time, we're still talking. It's not like, oh, you did this horrible thing. That's...
Yeah.
I mean...
oh, wow, we've done horrible things in our lives, but we've changed course. And I think that's another thing about society, is that you can never actually be redeemed. Oh, they'll say it's a tale of redemption, if it makes them look good for saying so. But if there's no benefit to it, no, squash to the ground.
Well, even if there's redemption, there's still the people 10 years later who will say, yes, well, he said this.
And one of the things I like to say is you walk the path of redemption for yourself.
Yeah.
Or, if you believe in God, then yeah, you walk for you, between you and God. But you're not doing it for anyone else. Because there's no guarantee that they will ever redeem you. They will ever think of you as anything better than you were when you wronged them.
Nope.
You can always attempt to make amends, but sometimes you just can't.
Nope.
And you're just gonna have to do your own thing to redeem yourself. If you actually feel guilty about what you did. I mean, hell, I felt guilty, years later of shoplifting all those places I did when I was a kid. And, I'm glad I stopped. And that's about the most I could do for redemption, I can't go back to stores that no longer exist, went bankrupt and all this shit, and say, oh, here's the money I owe you if I don't even know the people involved and all this shit. And some of those people have died, so there's absolutely zero chance of me just going out there and saying, here's $5 for the candy bars I stole 25 years ago.
And I mean, and you see shows about people who have murdered or whatever, and they still have friends or whatever. And people, how can you still be friends with that person? It's like, well, because you just are.
Yeah.
I mean, or someone who did something really horrible once when they were a kid, or maybe got in an argument and beat someone, or I'm not saying they'll forgive, I'm not saying that's good or anything, but just like I said, we're supposed to instantly turn on people when they do, or even, like I said, when they break up with someone, you're supposed to think that person's,
the biggest evil around. If you were friends with them, then you're probably still gonna be friends with them. And you might be like, yeah, you fucked up, dude, if you think they fucked up. But if it's, some sort of no-fault thing,
that I don't have any hard feelings for. I mean, I was sad that they left or whatever, but, you're supposed to hate all your exes and,
I've been friends with exes before. I've even dated a couple exes a second or third time.
Yep.
One about 3 dozen times.
So, but again, you're supposed to hate all your good riddance, or she wasn't good enough for me, or whatever. That's the way you're supposed to think.
Yeah,
This is all polite society.
Yeah, it just behooves me how people can be so petty.
I don't.
I mean, okay, between me and the ex-wife, yeah, there ain't no fucking redemption there. I'm not going back to that. There was way too much bullshit. But do I wish harm upon her? No. I actually hope she's doing well, for nothing else, for the kids that were look her up. She's doing better for herself, and that's a positive example.
Yeah. I mean, I just, for me,
I mean,
it's,
that
I
is
don't.
one of the reasons I walk the path of redemption as best I can, is because I want to set a better example for my kids if they ever decide to look me up. Because, I can't afford a fucking PI to fucking go look for them. And me look for them on my own, well, that constitutes stalking charges.
Yes. Um. So, like I said, like the whole, you're supposed to hate your friends if they do something that maybe, I've had friends who've done far worse than cheating. I mean, so
But
that
you
is,
see, the moment whenever I sold out and shit, I just remember, how many masks I had to put on to go out each day, and then to act like I had to shun everything I was, and put more faith in the government. Oh God, never put faith in the government. But yes, I even brainwashed myself to the point where I fucking put faith in the government. And there were so many lies that I wasn't even telling, not just telling society, but I told myself, and I actually believed. And it took me years to get past as many of them as I have after I said, you know what, fuck it. I'm fucking trailer trash. I'm gutter slime. I love it. And it just freed me from all this shit, and now I could just walk my own path, do my own thing. And if I feel like being a decent human being, fine. If not, then I'll just flip you off and walk the other way. There's no need for me to fucking go up and punch you in the face now. Unless you try fucking hurting me, I don't have no reason to fucking go up and murder you. Because there's no thing where I need to actually destroy someone in order to protect my image. And that's all it was lying to myself to protect my own fucking image. Which the whole reason I was doing it was I was afraid of losing my kids because of who I used to be. Even though I had changed.
Or
I quit selling drugs. I quit, hanging out with that crowd. And what friends I did keep, I hung out with while I was sober long before we even did drugs. So. But, I did a massive life change, and I could have done all that without having to sell out. And be quite content being slime. You had an opportunity?
So the whole thing, another thing is I don't know. I just, unless someone does something to me or to someone I know, I really don't have time to judge them.
Yeah. Bathe in the blood of thy enemies.
I mean, sorry, I'm eating. It's especially if they're a celebrity. If a celebrity, he did this. Well, I don't know. I don't have time to judge people. Oh, here's another polite society thing. Celebrities as role models.
Oh, God. That is like the worst fucking possible thing there, because,
I mean,
you're only seeing the public face. You're not seeing everything.
As a kid, I loved racing, and I respected and admired the drivers that did it. I never wanted to be like them because every time I saw them in like public stuff, they were doing stuff that I found really boring. Like talking about how great their sponsors were.
Yeah.
I mean
And you see them, they put on this facade and they're great and their talent and all this stuff, but, how much do you really know of them? I mean, certain people that always put it all out there, like, okay, maybe Howard Stern, okay, because he was out there and all this shit. I don't see why. I mean, I can understand back in the day why my one buddy did because he was young, but, anyone
Well, even
these
Howard
days,
Stern, it was all an act.
most of it was. Yeah.
He's a pretty conservative guy. But I mean, but the thing is, I mean, like I said, you know that they race cars, but then and all the stuff they're forbidden to do in their contracts, like ride a motorcycle, I don't know, now Smokey Yunick, that's a guy to aspire to. Well, he wasn't, humping everything that moved. He was building, engines with different fuel systems and things like that.
And I think, or maybe it's more the pop culture thing, because it's like, they always try to hide these things, and then you find out they did something you disapprove of, and now you have to destroy and cancel. It's like, dude, they did something you disagree with. Are they still good at their art? And was it something that they should be punished for currently? And if so, let the legal system deal with it.
Do you remember the Kyle Larson thing?
Oh, God.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Where he said the N-word on a on a radio where he didn't know his mic was open and he was talking to his homies. I mean, I always thought that was pretty stupid. It was in school. Everyone said that. No, I was the only one who never did because I just thought it was stupid. But he got crucified in the media for that. And well, he's a role model. It's like, shit. If you have a kid and you ain't the role model, you're both fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I remember.
They're human. You can't hold them to this fucking superhuman standard. And some are gonna fuck hookers. Some are gonna fucking, turn tricks on the side. Some are gonna, do this other shit because it's human.
Keep in mind, he apologized.
Yeah, of course, but apologizing is always the wrong solution.
He's done some stuff for charity and stuff like that, secretly. So he didn't want it to be a publicity stunt. And all of the people who knew him, most said he's not racist. But thankfully, I think he's won 39 races this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of races. So it's just this whole thing. And like I said, I've never really thought. I mean, when I was a kid, my role model was Jesse James because he built bikes and he liked heavy metal and he liked to build things. And then when I was like 11, my role model was Gigi Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Dead from Mayhem.
Yeah, I mean, you got all these fucking crazy ideas, and it's like, but, you got full-grown adults now trying to worship these celebrities, and it's like, you're an adult. This should be beneath you.
Yes. And by the way, the lesson here, treat every mic like it's open.
Yeah, treat every mic like it's open.
Treat every microphone like it's hot, which is, what I do all the time. You fucking stupid cunts. That was a joke. It was planned.
Yeah, planned.
So I think in Edgelord, as you, I mean, I get what a definition of an Edgelord is. It's what we used to call posers, as you said. But again, people with their linear minds, they can't comprehend that. So, and
I'm not saying something to get a rise out of you. I mean, fucking shit. I'm talking about the 13 unholy sodomies of Scooby-Doo. Yeah. Okay, now, do I mean something like, purely physical, as in beastie porn? Am I talking about, something mental or physical where they're fucking sodomizing your brain in weird ways that, might get you to think deviant thoughts? Am I talking, any of this shit, There's multiple layers to even just saying something random like that. And sometimes, if I get a response, sometimes like, okay, fine. Because you're used to me talking like this, and that's fine as a response. I'm not trying to get a rise. I'm trying to start a conversation. This is the first thing that popped in my brain.
I mean, sometimes I'll really have nothing to say except for, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes, but like what happened was like we started off today with like this, just our typical throwaway lines, and then our conversation evolved into saying, well, we got to do a show about this.
Yes.
Because, that's kind of part of, taking some of these, random straight thoughts, throwing them out there and saying, suck off a poodle,
Well, that's another thing.
It's not that we actually want you to go out and suck off a poodle. It's that, or that I'm trying to get a rise out of someone or disgust someone or anything like that. It's like, well, okay, this is a random thought that popped in my head. I want to say it, see where it leads. And sometimes, as you heard this conversation go off the rails like 18 times minimum.
And if you will suck off a poodle, make sure the poodle consents.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's another big thing. And another thing is, we don't have filters.
Yeah.
A lot of people have filters for what they say. I have filters around specific people just because I don't want any drama.
This is why I don't like talking at work, because, what's on my mind is not what people want to talk about. I mean, we've actually had a conversation about fucking the 13 unholy sodomies of Scooby-Doo in and of itself. But we've also used, similar phrases, or me using that exact phrase, because that's one of my things, just to get something going, because I wanted to talk, and I have a jumble of ideas, and I want to be able to talk about something, but yes. I don't know what yet, so let's figure out what the hell I want to talk about by making some sort of insane proposal. And sometimes it opens with a joke. Yes. There's plenty of times it's like, you ever wake up, you even said, you ever just wake up and want to eat someone?
Yeah, or something. I'll mention, like, what was it? I mentioned, like, bug mind control porn or something, and you said maggots birthed by tits or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's that conversation made sense.
And it made sense to us, going along that pattern, and eventually and this is like, the substitute for small talk, like, nice day outside. Well, that's boring.
How many friends would tell? I mean, I've heard the Mud Bomb Show talk about different porn, but it's all very straightforward, guy, girl. How many friends would talk about things like this and then do it publicly? I mean, I'm airing everything publicly. This is the shit I read.
Mm-hmm.
And,
whenever things come up, I'll go into, oh, wow, tentacle porn. That's that actually is hot.
The camping bug.
I mean, and I'm not into this cuckold thing. I do not like, feeling like I am the second best, or, something subhuman and someone else deserves to fuck her. But, on the other hand, I do like me some sloppy seconds.
But what if she makes you think you're subhuman and then makes you fuck her?
That might be a different thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's just there to belittle me and, I get nothing out of it, then no. But if, it's some sort of like, femdom kind of thing, then I might get into that.
Well, more mind control, but yeah. It's more like you're a worshipful slave.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I've always felt kind of weird about the other person thing. I don't know. Strange.
I mean, with me though, it's like, there was an experience I had where, me, my best friend, his ex-wife, and my girlfriend at the time all got together, and I found out a few things that I liked. Oh, wow.
Okay.
But,
what if rather than another person, it was a tentacle monster?
Yeah, I know. And I found out by watching tentacle porn, I actually liked that. And it kind of melds well with the whole entire sloppy seconds notion.
Yeah. So there's a whole different thing, and like I said, I'll try things just to try just see how they are, and that's how I got down the rabbit hole of not only the creature type things with aliens and bugs and alien bugs. The spider one wasn't really arousing so much as it was squicky. Ugh. That one grossed me out. It was great. I sent it to a couple of friends. I was like, "You've got to read this. This is so twisted."
It disgusted me. And dear God, I have no shame. I know that feeling. Oh God, do I know that feeling.
With pincer hands.
Dun 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 dun. Na 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 na.
So yeah, it gets really bad. But again, these are the things we talk about. I mean, I don't even care that I'm not even broadcasting publicly. I'm just talking to Jim. It just you just happen to be listening. And he's not the only friend I talk about this to, but that's the thing. I mean, how many people on random Facebook conversations talk to their friends like this? Hey, spider porn.
I mean, it's usually, a nice day you have or some idiotic bullshit involving politics.
I guess that would be a guilty pleasure.
What, idiotic bullshit?
Spider porn.
Oh. I guess. Oh, yeah, I mean...
Why not be proud of it? I am.
Yeah, it's not something you talk to with everyone about, because some people can't hack, and, you like those people, so you don't
No.
You don't want to fucking cross those lines. It's like, my one buddy, yeah. Oh, it's like me and Stern, okay? We talk about a lot of the same shit me and you talk about. But, when it comes to certain, political things, I stay out of it. Now, with me and he who shall not be named, me and him will talk about all these political things and a lot of these other things, but when it comes to, like, the down and dirty sex shit, no, I don't talk to him about that because that's not what he wants. He doesn't respond well to that, just like, certain political things Stern doesn't respond well to.
You usually don't talk politics with me because I'm just not interested.
Yeah, and I'm not interested in a lot of it.
But
whenever I get in my mode, I'll start rambling. But
me too.
I'm the doomsday prophet, which is great.
Yeah, but
I live at Box Maytag in the alley behind the corner of the 5th and Main.
See, I'm probably a little bit better at small talk than you, but then again, you are 18 years older. You've had a lot more,
It just
life.
gets so boring talking about
the
weather and what the Jones did yesterday. And
well, yeah, that's why I try to get them into my world. See, the other thing is, I don't just have a world of depravity. I also have a world of auto racing.
Now, you see, I know a little bit about physics, because I remember shit from high school, and I actually like talking about it every now and then. But, since I know I have limited, knowledge in the field, whenever I say things like, I wonder if the Higgs boson is actually, what we were looking for when we were trying to find the graviton, or is that something completely different? How many people can hold that conversation?
Yeah, I don't know.
And like, not many that want to have it, especially someone, because I'm not an expert in the field, so I can't really talk with all the huge, because they'll just fucking laugh me out.
Well, it's the same with me. I mean, I could start. Well, I think the track last night was better for the 410 sprint cars. Maybe a little bit too big for the 360s. They seemed to lose momentum about halfway around and just sort of droned around. They weren't powerful enough. to have a compelling race. You have no idea what I'm talking about there.
Mm-hmm.
You have absolute, and I'm not a sprint car expert, but I know enough that
Yeah, and then there's things that it's like, oh yeah, and the fucking battle mechanics of this fucking game is fucking awesome. It's like, well, you don't comprehend the fucking battle mechanics because it's not like Pokemon where like someone could at least read off the screen if it was super effective. This is like does laser cannon beat this type of armor and all this other shit and other computations of like where the twitch reflexes come in and it's shit you don't grasp. You just want to throw grenades and watch people die as you beat them to death slowly with a fucking rubber hammer.
See, this track suits the 8 cylinders more than the 4 cylinders because it's more of a power track rather than a handling track. Again, you have no idea what I just said there.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what I just said because I've watched enough sports car racing to understand that certain tracks rely more on power and certain tracks are more about handling, where if you have a less powerful car but a better setup car, you can make up for the lack of power. Whereas on other tracks, which are more, wide open and wide sweeping turns, you're screwed because you don't have the power. So, but again, so for me, I mean, and also I talked to a girl from Kenya for all night, and we talked about what life was like for us. But again, she's from Kenya and I'm from America, so we have a lot to tell. Whereas if you're talking about what's life like for you, same as you.
Pretty much, except you're in California and I'm in PA. Which, our governors are idiots, but yours more of an idiot than mine.
I don't know. Not according to the sprint car fans. They want his head on a platter.
Good. Everyone should want fucking Wolf's head on a platter. Anyway. but you see, that's another thing, too. Whenever you fucking talk to these people online, the main baseline you have is like, you're bitching about like these fucking huge national politics. But like whenever you're offline, it all switches to like, if you're talking politics, it's more local. What did your fucking town council do? What did your fucking county do? What the fuck is your governor doing? Is he an asshole? But you don't really talk much about, the national level because that seldom affects you.
As far as socializing at like parties, I usually wait for people to come up and talk to me. Just because, and I can, if I need to, I can small talk or whatever. But I usually, what are you into? Oh, heavy metal music. Is that like I like some AC/DC.
It's not metal.
What metal do you like? Well, I just got this compilation of demos by a band called Aborted Fetus, and hey, where are you going?
Yeah.
Which is true. I got a compilation by a band called Aborted Fetus. It's a good compilation. But I can switch on my normal thing if I want to, but then the metalhead always comes through.
Yeah, I know, and it's like, okay, what the fuck do I do now? I just talked about bludgeoning someone with a hammer, and the claw end of it, and leaving it in there.
And then they start with the music, and then I'm just...
Or, you take a knife and you stab someone in the forehead, and that creates a unicorn, because you leave the knife in there, and the hilt showing out gives them the horn. And if you're really creative, if you're really quick, you could create a triceratops using the same method. But you need 3 knives for that.
See, I find that funny as hell.
Then you got these people that are like, oh my god, you're contemplating murder. Well, it's a joke.
And yet, you can never judge people because the person I thought that would actually like your show was afraid of you, which I think is funny.
And the person that you thought would like hate it with and be revulsed with every ounce of her heart was like an avid fan.
Hey, make him cuss more. So you never judge people. I mean, the good Christian girl liked the show, and the faux metalhead goth girl was afraid of you. Which
Pussy.
how can you be afraid of Jim?
I'm such a puppy dog. Consume your soul, I will.
The demonic puppy dog.
You know, you ever sing the alternate lyrics to One Winged Angel? Come on, baby, fuck your mum, itty bitty ditty da. Come on, baby, fuck your mum, suck my balls, and fuck your mother, fuck your mum.
That's the Jim singing hour.
Oh, God.
So,
Or,
yeah.
or maybe you want something more childish than that, let's go with Charlotte's Web. It's a good children's movie. Isn't it great that I can masturbate? Isn't it grand that I can fuck my hand? I don't screw, I don't mate, I don't even procreate. If I want to go fuck something, I go and I jerk off, I jerk off, I jerk off, off, I jerk off. I'm filled with semen, as you see. My blue balls ache so painfully, my orgasm size capacity is tops. So I see someone so beautiful, I want to go and rape their skull. Instead I go right home and rub one out. Isn't it great that I can masturbate? Isn't it grand that I can fuck my hand? I don't screw, I don't mate, I don't even procreate. If I want to go fuck something, I go and I jerk off, off. Well, you shut up, I jerk off. See, aren't you glad? No, I'm sad. I miss fucking Fern. And that's whenever Zimmerman realized that there was some nasty bestiality going on, so he had himself some crunchy bacon right that evening.
When I went to go get coffee and I was absentmindedly singing I Jerk Off. I wonder if there was someone there, because I was like just getting coffee, walking out, I jerk off. You fucker.
But you see, this is like, I don't see how that's edgy. I find it humorous. I don't see it edgy.
I don't see it edgy. I just say humorous. Of course, then I would have Charlotte become an alien spider, but that's another story. No, that's not really a. I don't really consider that edgy. It's more. I mean, edgy would be. Hey guys.
You remember that whole scene I told you back whenever Vorka first went into Ash Point? You remember that entire musical scene? That was something I had dreamt up for Mottler. With the fucking. Who will buy my sweet red feces, 2 turds for 1 penny?
Yes. You know what pisses me off? Being edgy used to be a good thing. Because being edgy meant you were on the cutting edge. You were right on the edge. You were edgy. You were new. But people use it to dismiss tryhards, basically.
Yeah.
What would be good definition? Elliot Rodger was an edgy. Corey Taylor from Slipknot or Rob Flynn from Machine Head would be edgy. Yeah. Hey, look how adult I am. I say fuck every other word.
God, I'm sorry. I'm still recovering from the migraine of just remembering the manifesto.
I know you say fuck a lot, but you don't champion it as like, your thing, because you're so 5-finger death punch is edgy.
See, I say fuck but that's normal conversation for me. It doesn't need to be championed. It's normal.
Yeah, but I mean, for them, it's Pantera is edgy. Fuck the world for all it's worth. Every inch of planet Earth. I'm really mad.
Like I said, Elliot Rodger's Manifesto. The best alternate title ever for it is Putting Effort Into Anything is Lame.
Hey, hi Seth Putnam. How are you today? That would be a Seth. That would be a Seth Putnam. I actually wrote a song called "Putting Effort into Anything Is Lame," and I think I wrote the lyrics like this song had lyrics, but they were really hard to write. Putting effort in anything is lame, lame, lame. So it's something I shot out in like 2 minutes because that's the whole point of the song. The whole point of the song
And
is
I wrote a song called "Just Die," and the chorus went something like "Just die, you fucking bitch. Just die, you fucking cunt." And like, it was just all about just wanting someone to die. It wasn't aimed at anyone in particular. It was just I heard someone wrote "Just Die" on their fucking knuckles, and I decided to write a song about "Just Die."
yes.
And there was absolutely, and at the time I thought it was really cool, and I look back and it's like, I guess I would be teeny bopper cool, but yeah.
I mean, I mean, one could say Guar was edgy back then.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, I guess they signed. I guess they were auditioning for Relativity Records, and Slymanster decided to have a period, fake period, on their precious couch.
Yeah, dumping gallons of blood everywhere.
But yeah, edgy used to be a good thing, but now it's, the word try hard, I guess. I'd like to know who popularized edgy as an insult.
I don't know.
But it's really made to dismiss people who have opinions
Opinions outside what they consider normal, which I
Slipknot's a
consider
terrible band,
stupid
edgy.
and suicidal and lame.
Slipknot's a terrible band. Oh, so edgy because you're denying metal history. No, I know my metal history. You're denying metal history.
Yeah.
I love when the people think that we just sort of dismiss anything we don't like as metal. There are standards to this.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
it doesn't
God.
sound metal to me.
I mean, yeah, I call it alt rock schlock, but fucking the Metallica Black Album still qualifies as metal, just without
the
any
Metallica Black Album
substance.
is metal. Eric and I were talking about that the other day. I won't say it's not metal. I think I like one song.
I mean, the entire album's devoid of substance.
I don't remember if it's Holier Than Thou or Through the Never, but one song wasn't.
I think Holier Than Thou wasn't half bad.
That was. I mean, that's probably my favorite song on the album, and that's the only good song on the. Well, I guess Through the Never's okay. So two songs I could revisit on a 12-song album, but Load is not metal.
No, it's not.
Or Chode, as you call it.
Yeah.
Saint Anger.
I think I might have heard some of it on the radio and not cared.
We're gonna review that album. I had to listen to all 75 minutes of the son of a bitch.
Oh God! Why do you hate me so much?
You know the answer to that.
Why won't you fuck me for $5 and hours of endless homicide? Someday we'll find it, the crackhead crack rock connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Holy shit, why are you alive? It's like God just wants me to suffer. Piss, shit, tit, cunt, fuck, you useless damn asshole. Stop breathing and stop being alive. Someday we'll find it, the crackhead crack rock connection. You useless goddamn piece of shit.
Okay. I'd say that Metallica's later albums are metal, but anyway, what was that from?
Oh, that was the Rainbow Connection, from the original Muppet movie.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I've only seen one Muppet movie, and I didn't like it back then. So
You know, it's time to fuck your mother. It's time to destroy all life. It's time to murder your family on the Crackhead Show tonight. Dun dun dun.
I mean,
yeah.
I knew a guy who would write like pop melodies and put death metal lyrics in them, which I thought was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the Cannibal Corpse level there. So, there's a time-honored tradition of that. But the whole thing about metal is I mean, Slipknot doesn't sound metal to me. I still want to do a thing one day, and one day, and it might be 5 years from now. But I want to show you some sound clips of what the kids think is metal, and get your spontaneous.
This is what you get for letting history be destroyed, kids. No.
Yeah. I want to get your spontaneous reaction, because I think it'll be hilarious.
No. Why?
Well,
I know it'll be painful.
No. Not only your pain, but what you hear in the song.
Okay.
You don't have to listen to the full song, but you know.
Because, I mean, I remember like 10 years ago, some kids trying to say, this is what metal is today. It's like, it's just noise. Yeah, that's metal. No, it's actually noise. Literally, that's the name of the genre. Noise.
I loved Hellcast. The guy had said he never heard deathcore, or at least never, knew about hearing it. And so he listened to what deathcore was. First off, deathcore is not new. It's 14 years old now. But he had some very interesting opinion, and he even said, these are the kids we used to make fun of. These are, because he had a look at the deathcore kids, and he listened to the music, and he said, these are kids we used to make fun of. But now you're an elitist if you say that.
Oh, God. I would rather discern what is best than let someone else dictate to me what I should like.
Agreed. Why do you think I promote and like the Hellcast so much? Not only do they name drop obscure death metal demos, but they're very independent, and they're not afraid to say what's good and what's bad.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I agree with them on a lot of things. Yeah. Some things I don't agree with them on, and some things I'll call them out on. I mean,
But, like, that's all part and parcel, It's personal preference. But unless there's an actual objective quality, like whenever we say Load isn't metal, well, yeah, there's objective qualities. Chode is not metal.
Even the mainstream rock press realized it wasn't metal.
Yeah.
I mean, and there are people who defend it because it's an open-minded experiment. I mean, no.
No,
but,
it was, we need money for heroin, let's sell as many albums as possible.
Or Morbid Angel's I album, which was sometimes metal. Morbid.
No, Radicult. Oh my fucking
Kill Cult.
God.
See.
I do not listen to Morbid Angel in order to hear a fucking fucking piece of shit Marilyn Manson fucking knockoff song. I do not listen to Morbid Angel for that. Why?
So we were talking
Marilyn
about...
Manson's not even metal. Why the fuck?
See, it wasn't Radical. I didn't hear that till later, but I liked Morbid Angel. I only had a 7-inch by them, and I heard I Am Morbid, and it was stadium rock death metal. And I was so disappointed. Okay, we were talking about cheating on your girlfriend or whatever. I guess there's a great story that Mike Browning told. The original drummer for Morbid Angel.
Mm-hmm.
how he went over to Trey's house to see how he was doing at lunch, and saw Trey and his Mike's girlfriend making out. Okay, that's a bit of a red flag. But he was still willing to be in a band with him until, like a week later, Trey decided he wanted to move to North Carolina to be with David Vincent and join his band. So you know what Mike did? He beat the fuck out of him. Mike actually beat the hell out of Trey. I'll send you the full story later, but yeah, but he was still willing to be in a band with him. So that's I don't know, but on the other hand, have things really changed? I mean, in the 80s, if we had social media, the 80s metalheads would have been called the exact same things that we're being called, edgelords and all the other things. Because how dare you say Whitesnake isn't metal, or Poison isn't metal?
Yeah, because the lamestream is the lamestream.
And
I'd rather be a fucking elitist, anti.
You know why it's called the mainstream? Because it's so shallow. But
everything's just complete surface level with no substance. Dude.
But at the same time,
I remember I was sitting there listening to fucking Blessed Are the Sick, Altars, and fucking Covenant by Morbid Angel. I'm sitting there contemplating, very nihilistic concepts. And I was capable of debating Nietzsche without ever having read a single line. I didn't even know, God is dead was his quote. I didn't know that until recently. And like we're talking in the past 3-4 years. I did not know that was a Nietzsche quote. But I was capable of debating, the consequences for the death of God for people who, lived, ate, and breathed, Nietzsche's writings. Yeah. And they thought I was so well read with him that I was able to, keep up and even surpass them in certain areas. It's like, dude, no, all I did was sit there, kick back, relax, listen to the first 3 Morbid Angel albums, and contemplate, the utter meaninglessness of everything. I gazed into the abyss, it stared back, and I grinned.
I did the same thing with, Pagan Thought and Burzum.
And that was another thing that pisses me off. I said that. I didn't know if you gaze in the abyss enough, it'll stare back. Was his line, too. I didn't know that. Of course, I found that out much earlier, about a decade ago, but still. But, that's why we used to differentiate between metalhead and metal fan, because we would contemplate these deeper metal.
Well, that's
okay. Whenever you get into what heavy metal was, why the term was coined for this genre of music. The metal part was because the sound was metallic. Your fucking Black Sabbath, and shit, had a more metallic sound to it. The heavy part went with the ideas behind the lyrics. The thoughts that would get going, because we're old hippie days. Heavy meant, deep introspective concepts. And some of the things that fucking Black Sabbath were entertaining in the day were, what if we're the bad guys? What if we're the ones being tempted by the evil? Hippies didn't ask this of themselves, because it was always fuck the system. He was actually asking it,
And then later
what if we lose? What if we're wrong?
Heavy became a descriptor of the sound as well, which it always was in a way. But yeah, heavy and hippie slang meant,
deep introspective thought.
So, but yeah, so, and that's why I like Dale Patterson saying that Morbid Angel was kind of the bridge between, I don't want to say entertainment style death metal, but I'll say entertainment style. Just, Cannibal Corpse doesn't.
Yeah, Cannibal Corpse doesn't offer a lot of deep introspection. It's just horror fans doing what horror fans do. Let's talk about, the Jackhammer Massacre here.
Which
Seatbelt didn't save his life, it tore him in two.
which is I'm not knocking at all, but there's no introspection there. It's just it's fun.
But sit there and listen to God of Emptiness.
How do you think I got interested in anti-cosmic Satanism at first? Reading a book? It was Dissection. It was a black metal band, and I thought the lyrics were amazing. And I started reading the lyrics.
I mean,
and
I remember I was sitting there listening to fucking, God of Emptiness by Morbid Angel off their Covenant album, and I sat there and said, is a God that offers nothing and will only grant you an eternity in the abyss with unknowing, unthinking anything, worth worship.
It would depend. You were talking about guilty pleasures earlier, and I just thought of something. Musicians tend to like a lot more than just the genre they play.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's always funny. Would it be surprising if I told you that this musician liked this? Not really. The guy from Blasphemy listens to British pop rock from the 60s.
Oh, wow. Big whoop.
As well as Archgoat, so it's. I think a lot of people. I think it's the guilty pleasure thing. You have to be ashamed of liking something.
It's a alien concept.
I mean, the big metalhead who likes secret mainstream things or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck that shit. I like what I like. I define it for myself.
I don't dislike something because it's mainstream. I dislike it because I don't like it. It just happens to be most of the popular stuff is stuff that I don't happen to like. If Archgoat was as big as Green Day, I'd still love Archgoat. At the same time, if Blink-182 was as small as Archgoat, I would still hate them. It's it's about taste, but you're talking about getting into the lyrics. I mean, even Iron Maiden has lyrics with introspection that you could really dive into.
Oh, Power Slave.
They also have lyrics about killing random people.
I mean, just a song, Power Slave. Just break down the concept. Do you buy into your own lies?
Most people do.
I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's a song being sung from a pharaoh saying, I don't want to die, I'm a god, why can't I live on?
Yeah. Or even, hallowed be thy name. Hallowed be thy name. How would you act in the face of certain death?
Yep, the hangman's noose is coming for you.
He thinks he's the oh, wait, why am I crying? That's not supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, or even Aces High, which is granted a more song about just what happens, but still you've got to think about being in those Spitfires, which I think about.
And you have like mere nanoseconds to react because there's a fighter group. We gotta get rid of these bombs before they hit the fucking homeland. You gotta fucking, oh my god, here comes some more fighters. What the fuck? Am I gonna be able to... There's all these thoughts going through your head, and it's split-second decisions that you have to make almost purely on instinct.
Yep. Pretty amazing. And this is before computers and all that were, computerized and planes and things like that.
Purely manual, analog.
I love old World War II planes. World War I as well. It's funny. What was your favorite? The P-38?
Mm-hmm.
And Smokey Unix like, yeah, that plane was a shitbox.
Oh, yeah. It looked cool, but yeah.
I like the
I don't
Mustang.
think it would have flown that well because the way it was designed with the
It
fucking
was.
twin selages going straight down and then, like, the wings and the tail being that. Yeah, I don't think it would have flown that well, but it looked pretty damn cool.
It looks. Oh yeah, it looks great. From what I understand, I think it was just slow and just compared to like the P-51, it was just.
Well, it would have to be slow because the way it's structured.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it maybe getting better distance because it had the twin selages, the twin engine rigged the way it was, but I don't see it actually outperforming, with any tight turns or speed.
We did a I don't know. Have you uploaded that one yet?
Not yet, but we'll get to it.
Okay. Well, there was an article about throwing out a toy collection, and well, I won't spoil it. You'll have to hear that, but you might be asking, Elliot, how do you know what a plane looks like? A 70-year-old warplane. Well, I have die-casts of a lot of
die-cast replicas, yes,
of a lot of things. And is that a guilty pleasure? Not really. I'm very open about my collection, and I haven't stopped, and I probably won't stop.
Especially since it's pretty much your only way to see what the fuck this shit looks like.
Yes. And I mean...
feel what its dimensions are if you're going to fucking be that fucking picky.
And even then, shut the fuck up. And even then you could feel, if it...
No, I was telling the viewer to shut the fuck up before they start making that joke, because it's dead.
Yes, I know. I was agreeing with you. We were on the same side.
I know, and we have to attack each other.
Yes. No, but in all seriousness, I mean, I could feel like, if it's like a blocky shape or if it's an aerodynamic or things like that. And I get, a whole bunch of different. So I always like the look of the P-38, but there's just something about the P-51 that's always called to me. It's just so. Yes. I like the Zero, too. And the Stuka with the whistles in its wings. So, I mean, but even when I was this anti-war, war is horrible, I still love warplanes and war machines, and I had to sort of justify that to myself, and then I realized that I didn't care. Tanks are cool.
Yes, they are.
And it's always been interesting. I love reading about the history of different things and how they evolved over the years. It could be race cars, it could be cars, it could be tanks, it could be computers, it could be video game. Hell, Jim, before I ever heard of you, before when I thought your name was the name of a touring car racer, I watched Charlie Brooker's How Video Games Changed the World. I talked about the history of video games and how they developed. And I was never really interested in video. I mean, I played racing games, and things like that. And I'd watch my sister play games, but I couldn't say I had an interest in video games because I can't play them. But listening to how they developed and the technology and how they got more realistic and pushing the envelope and things like that, I was really interested in that. And gaming systems, how they got smaller and smaller, and how they went from basically being off the shelf, before the PlayStation, most game consoles were a mixture of off the shelf components. It's just a matter of putting them together better. And the PlayStation really was, well, I'm explaining for the viewers, was sort of definitely a shift. And I didn't know any of that. And so listening to it, I was fascinated. And then, of course, later you got me into Fallout and I got into text adventures and stuff like that. So that was something else. And computers, the technology of how to make computers smaller than the internet. I'm fascinated by development. how we got from a 1950s Indy car to today's Indy car, or how we got, or the development of planes, aviation, the dream that one day man could take to the skies. And then 45 years after the first powered flight, the sound barrier's broken.
Yeah.
We went from a 12-second hop to breaking the sound barrier in less than half a century. That fascinates me.
And consider some of our feats in engineering taking literally, multiple centuries to get from point A to point B.
And then
that quick, it's like, wow.
Well, if you think of, the wars, of course, sped it up. Yeah, as you said, others. And I've also been interested in what people could do without electricity, without the Via Emilia in Italy is a road that is almost completely straight. They did it without technology. They did it without
modern tech.
Yeah.
They did use their technology of the time.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Modern technology.
They didn't have the fucking iPhone to tell you it was completely plumb.
Yep. So I've always been interested in that, and of course history and how battles developed and things like that. So I've always had that fascination.
You have that fascination. You display it well. I'm going to eat this person now. Okay. Roll to head.
Wait a minute. But they're infected with the Black Plague. So?
We didn't say it was a good decision. It was just a decision. I made an executive call. Consume plague bearer.
I'm shit at religion, though. I'm shit at religion, though, because I kept wondering why I kept getting the you can't go to heaven ending in the game, the Black Plague eating people game. And it's because you prayed to Cecilia, the girl who showed up. And you're not supposed to pray to her because that's praying to an idol or whatever. You're supposed to pray to a specific saint. I had to cheat to look up the saints because I just don't remember any of them. And you had to pray to a specific saint at that certain time. But if you pray to the girl who said to pray to her, you go to hell. Unless you're a demon. Then it turns out she's Satan. Isn't that good?
That's great.
And
I'm going to hell, but I'm taking over.
But you have a choice. Hey, would you like your eyes pecked out by ravens today, or would you like to be torn apart by lions?
Yes.
So that's, just giving the viewers an insight into how we think and about what our interests.
I think torn apart by lions because I don't want to see the beaks coming in at my eyes and slowly getting blind with that kind of pain. I'd just rather have the mauling done all at once.
See, he thought about that. That was a throwaway comment that he thought about.
Yeah.
I respect that. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying most people would just ignore that.
You're edgy, but this is normal thought for me. If I was sitting here and had to pick between two horrific fates, I think I would pick the one that would induce the least amount of bad things for me.
See, I think I would also pick the lions because, I've had little things like poke your eye, and that hurts like hell.
Yeah.
Even if you can't see it, it doesn't.
Even if I have to sit there and feel being eaten, things puncturing the rest of my body, okay. But pecking out the eyes, that's a bit much. That ranks up there with tooth pain,
Yes. And you don't want to see their beaks as your vision slowly fades, and you just die of blood loss.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, that's brutal.
Yep.
But again, people think that, I'm not trying to shock the listener with that statement, That's just what comes into my head.
Yeah. You contemplate these things, and it's okay.
Edgy would be the. Now I love black metal, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Edgy would be the early Norwegian black metal scene and its comments to the press, which were designed to shock. Oh, Dead killed himself and we ate some of his brain because we're so evil. It was fun, but that is edgy. That is them trying to shock people
Mm-hmm.
for their own means. You know, we heard the word peace, and so we had to go burn down a church.
Mm-hmm.
That is the most.
Meanwhile, you go into that some of the logic behind the original church burnings, not the copycats. And it was, these people overtook our pagan land and our traditions, so let's get rid of them.
Well, that was why they did it, but then in the media they said it was because the peace thing. That was just that was a tactic to drum up publicity, which again, edgy.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was funny, but again, but the thing is, deep down, they made some great music. Jim's not as into black metal as I am, but behind the facade of we're all evil and brutal, they made some truly evil music. So,
and they also had actual deep thoughts that were the actual motivations behind the bullshit excuse they gave.
But they knew that no one would listen to the deep thoughts because that's not what they want. So they put the deep thoughts in the music and in their own writings. But for the magazines, they wanted to have some fun. And why not?
You ask yourself, I wonder what it is like to murder someone. And I've asked myself that question too. What is it like? And I come to the conclusion I probably would feel guilty in most circumstances.
Apparently, according to Faust, it really does it is an out-of-body experience. Like, all of a sudden, you sort of feel like you're watching someone else do it.
Yeah.
And it's because you're doing something that the human mind can't really process.
Well, at least in today's day and age, whenever we're told that, violence is bad. I mean, you go back further in time, fucking shit, some of those Sumerian texts, all about the killing, raping, looting, and pillaging. This is what we're supposed to value.
Oh, I love the Wargol had a moment in the Sumerian, and whenever because Dave Brockie did his research. Of course, a lot of it was Lovecraftian and alien stuff, but he also did his research about different cultures and stuff. And in the Sumerian culture, whenever a warrior was chosen, and the warrior soldiers, the people under him, would be allowed a week of freedom on the town to do whatever they wanted. And I mean whatever they wanted. That's why people started leaving town 2 weeks before the soldiers. That's why people started leaving 2 weeks before a new chief was chosen, because they wanted to protect their daughters.
Oh yeah.
Because
this is your bribe for loyalty. Go out, drink, be merry, fuck. I don't care what it is.
Drink and be merry, and Mary's roommate. So, that's like I said. We're so suppressed in this modern culture. We risk taking is now,
Oh God, that is a huge pet peeve of mine. The fucking risk aversion. I mean, okay, I don't expect you to make a lot of the more insane choices I made. Okay, but come on, get off your ass and get a new job if it sucks that bad. Don't sit there and think you're somehow intertwined to this position and this company because it is now your identity. No, fucking take the chance, take the risk. Move out of mama's basement. I did. Yes, I'm living with my aunt right now. after years on my own because I crashed and burned. Sometimes you lose. Oh, wow. Is the fact that you are more likely to lose worth giving up all hope?
Yes, because
Keep in mind, I'm a nihilist. I understand that it's a great opiate that does almost nothing, but it does do one thing: motivate you to take those risks. And if you take the risks and actually succeed, then you win.
In the 1955 Indy 500, there were 18 drivers who would lose their lives in a racing accident. Can you imagine? That could never happen today. I mean, and nor should it, and I'm glad that safety's improved vastly from that time. But back in that time, that was, the 50s and 60s were the space race, and the exploration and risk taking was encouraged. Nowadays, when
Power
someone goes
behind your desk. No.
nowadays when someone goes into space, all they do is complain about how much money it costs. And as you said, cower behind your desk. I mean,
okay. I sit here and weigh risks, okay? And the reason I don't talk a lot of the time is because I recognize that, yeah, I could probably have the cops call on me just for making idle banter.
yeah.
With no ill intent behind it. Because that's what's on my mind, so I keep my mouth shut.
See,
It took me years to realize this, in the hands of Jeff, rest his soul, to guide me into a place where it's like, yeah, not everyone thinks that's cool. And yet again, back to the free speech thing, but I don't care. It's an idea which needs to be debated or at least discussed or, vented.
I don't know why I don't take a risk. I guess because I really have nowhere to go. I mean, if I had somewhere, maybe I would bite the bullet, but I don't. So
I take a risk every day at the job because I'm fucking directing traffic. There's a chance someone's gonna fucking cream me and I'm gonna become road pizza.
And then I have to look for a new co-host. God damn.
Mm-hmm.
That's one
But
headache.
that's just me making, my daily wage. And I don't get paid, a shit ton for it. But I do get paid something for it.
Don't kill Jim, people.
But, and there's a lot of people that fucking don't like to stop, so I have to try to rig it so that they do. Because, traffic's coming, or there's equipment on the road or something, and fucking people love their superior intellect, and they're somehow beating the system, even though they're going to die if they try.
Yes.
And then it's my fault if they do die. Just like it's my fault for inconveniencing you for 35 seconds.
Yes, but seriously, motorists of the world, don't kill Jim. Finding another co-host would be kind of hard.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't do. I mean, it's not just because the blind thing, but I couldn't do what you do. I'd be fucking terrified of just because I know how people drive.
Oh no, you don't.
I just
no. Absolutely
well, in California.
Not. No, you don't know. You don't know the depths of human stupidity until you have worked as a flagger for a few months. You think we keep hitting the bottom in these articles? Drivers are even dumber than that.
You should write. I don't know if you ever read some of those street sweeper articles about a guy who was a street sweeper and all the stupid shit he saw. That would be entertaining.
Yes. Fuck.
But yeah, that sounds terrifying.
Oh, yeah, but you go through, and I think that's another thing. It's like fuck. This whole entire you have a fear. Okay. I was mortified of heights. Okay.
Yeah.
And I still kind of have those pangs every now and then, where it's just like dizzying and all that. But I went from being, catatonic to being capable of hacking, being up so high, and looking down and all that shit into a more tolerable state because I confronted my fear. I took the risk and faced it straight on.
Yep.
Whenever the water was deep enough in this one creek, I would go bridge jumping. I would go in another creek, in another river, I'd go, cliff jumping. Not a huge cliff, mind you. It was only about 50, maybe 100 feet. It wasn't that big, but it was still, there's a huge rocky edifice jutting out. I did these things so I could overcome my fear. I faced them. I sit there at a pet shop and watch the fucking tarantulas go because I got a fear of spiders. I'm still not going to let one crawl up my arm, but I don't fucking squish and kill automatically anymore. I'm more likely to scurry it outside.
Yep. How would you do with off-road driving? I'm not talking about just going on the dirt. I'm talking about 45-degree leaning to the right. It feels like the son of a bitch is going to tip over any second now.
I would probably try it.
Good. Come out here. We got a seat for you. I will make you shit your pants. And we will film the defecation in Jim's pants. No, I understand that.
It's fucking shit. This is how you overcome fear. You don't fucking sit there. You don't fucking avoid it like the plague. You fucking go out and confront this shit as it comes out,
I'm really nervous at first when I do something, or talk to someone or something but then, well, you've seen me. When we were talking to, obviously this is talking, but he's like a famous guy, Dale Patterson. I was shitting myself. I was honestly if you had said I couldn't make it, I don't know what I would do because this is, he's well known, right? So I'm sitting there. As soon as he calls, I'm just boom, I'm fine. Although there was the time where I got tongue-tied, but that's because I had 5 million thoughts in my head. So once it's okay, so I did a NASCAR ride-along thing, and I was pretty nervous about that because, I'd never been that fast. As soon as we got out, so my whole thing is, as soon as we start doing it, I stop being nervous. Because whatever will happen, will happen.
Mm-hmm.
I could be terrified.
Now, long-time fans of this show know that I'm on this little horror movie hosting gig called Fright Night Theater. It was originally known as Fright Night Friday back when I was in college in the 90s. Being in front of the camera with the pressure on and all this other shit. First time I was on camera, I was literally shitting. I was almost literally shitting bricks. I was nerved out of my skull. It's all this social anxiety and all this other shit just flared up right at that moment.
Yeah. When we first did an interview with Ryan from Intestinal Disgorge, so you're going to interview. You've never done an interview before. You have to make it interesting. You have to ask semi-intelligent questions. I was terrified, and then the show started. And once the show started, it was just boom.
Yeah, and you confront your fucking fears, and now it's I go out there and Fright Night is improv. Yeah, and he presents us with a scenario. He has a rough draft of what he wants, but he lets us improv everything. And after we got into our characters, everyone got comfortable with shit. And I'm so fucking comfortable in front of camera, I crave it. So,
I'm not sure what
But,
my
you
fear
know,
was.
I go out there and, like, he loves the shit we improv more than what he had written because somehow we hit our characters so far on the head, it's great, you know. Like, you know, the current scheme is I'm trying to get Andrew Hitchcock's money back to him so I can steal it from him.
Yes. That makes perfect sense.
It does, doesn't it?
When when the camera's off, do you break character or do you stay in character?
I break character. I'm myself. I mean, I'm pretty close to my character on TV.
Well, yeah,
It's just
just
I
more
play him a
hammy.
lot more dumb.
More hammy.
Mm-hmm.
No, but because I know people who stay in character when the camera's off or whatever, in between takes or whatever.
See, I don't like doing that because, you know, I like to be personable and all that shit. I just
Yeah.
don't go into everything I am because, you know.
I think it's fear of the spotlight, and I think it's the same thing. Granted, it's just my voice, but at the same time, I'm interviewing someone, and like I said, I have to make it entertaining and engaging and ask thoughtful questions. And this guy's been interviewed by competent interviewers before. So, and the way I got was I just emailed him, and I'm thinking, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? And then as soon as the show started, oh yeah, I'm just talking to a guy who likes metal. So,
And he's written some books, so I know a bit.
Yeah. What about flying? Have you ever flown before?
No. I've always wanted to, though. And yeah, I'm terrified of it. But I want to. Because, yeah, there's a little... And here's another thing, too, about facing your fears. There is that rush of doing it. There's a minor high associated with going out and confronting those fears and trying to, go over them. And you know what? I think I would love the sensation of free fall, jumping from a plane. I'm not going to like to stop at the end, so I'm going to wear a parachute. But yeah, I want to do that. But I'm terrified of heights. And I'm very wary, if not terrified of flying. But I still want to do this because the experience just looks like it would be fun.
Flying is an interesting sensation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because once you level off, you are aware it doesn't feel like you're sitting still. It does feel like you're moving somehow. But and then turbulence sucks. I hate turbulence. So yeah, I don't know. Flying is I do it, but it is kind of nerve-wracking. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, facing fears is fun. I'm not really big on huge hills in like off-road trucks, basically because I can't see what's happening, and it always feels like we're about to, flip backwards, which wouldn't be very fun. See, that's a fear I really don't want to face. I'm fine with not flipping backwards and ending up in a fireball. What about you, Jim?
What was that?
I'm fine with not flipping backwards and ending up in a fireball.
Yeah, I'd rather not do that.
That's a fear I don't need to face. But no, I get what you mean. I mean, something I want to do is leave California and not start over because that's ridiculous. But do something with my life. And that's kind of a terrifying prospect in a way because California is all I've known. But would I jump at the chance? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I think it would, but at the same time, the prospect is kind of scary. But scary prospects are a good thing. But a lot of people don't want to face their fears. A lot of people would rather, as you said, sit at their desk and complain about their job. I mean, I hate the kid, but that is one thing. Anarcha's never been shy about moving as stupid as it is, and as mistake prone as he is, he's never been shy about trying something new.
Yeah, I give credit where credit's due, and you got to take those chances, otherwise you don't know whether, shit is gonna fly or not,
As dumb as it's been, what was it? He didn't realize you needed money to get into the UK so they could, show that you can, survive on your own and you won't be a burden. So he was sent back to Kansas. That had me laughing for days. But again, I mean, he travels around and he does. I mean, so I just, you got to do it. So yeah, risk aversion is now we're all supposed to stay inside all the time.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Stay inside and be afraid, Jim.
Yeah, try that with my job. Well, you decided to go like 95 miles an hour through a fucking construction zone right by me. And my favorite's like the people that try to swerve towards you, speeding up as fast as they can before they hit the brakes in some sort of attempt to make you flip the sign faster. But like, you have to hold traffic because traffic is coming. Or there's equipment in the road, But like, somewhere in their superior intellect, this is going to change reality.
And yet they got a driver's license. Yeah. That's the terrifying thing. They somehow are licensed to drive vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love the honking too. Like, that's going to get me to flip my paddles sooner too. It's like, no, I gotta understand, because I got a radio, so I know when traffic's coming.
Yeah.
Okay. And if traffic's coming in a one-lane situation, your choices are either sit and wait until I tell you to go, or get into an automobile accident. There is no in between.
One of the questions you hear from people who don't know anything about racing is, how safe do you feel out there, racing at 200 miles an hour? And the great answer, I can't remember if it was Kyle Petty or who said it, but well, these guys are, you have to pass tests in order to get into the top level of NASCAR. All I know about the person driving is that they're at least 16 and can see over the dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's terrifying. I mean, I get why people don't drive. I would love to drive personally, but I get why people don't, because I've heard the stories. I know I've never seen it, but I've heard the stories of
morons doing shit.
Insane drivers.
And or they're more complete idiotic. The idiots are worse. The insane drivers, at least they're trying not to, destroy themselves. Usually.
Yeah.
The idiot drivers don't even realize that's what they're doing.
And whenever I hear these stories, I'm just thinking, why did you think that would be a good idea?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why did you think that as you said, why do you think that speeding up would get him to change the thing faster? It's he has things he needs to do and protocol and things like that.
I gotta pay attention when traffic's coming. I gotta pay attention when equipment's on the road, when they're moving in, when they're leaving. Sometimes, my favorite's switching lanes, and someone tries to get past as you're, switching from one side of the road to the other, because they just finished digging on one side of the road. I don't even know if they put the plate on the road so you could drive over it yet. So there's a chance that you got about, 5 foot wide, 10 foot deep hole. in the middle of the fucking road that you're going to just slam right into.
Yeah.
Simply because I started moving cones from one side of the road to the other.
And it's time to go. Once they do that, I gotta go now.
Yeah. I don't know. I just know I have to switch sides because the crew's switching sides, but I don't know which phase of them switching sides they're in until they give me the all clear to send traffic.
But people
because
think...
most of the time I can't see the actual work zone because the safest place for me to stand is around the corner. Yeah. Because I'm just before the corner instead of on the corner where drivers can't see me.
Mm-hmm. But people think that as soon as they start switching them,
yeah,
that means it's completely safe and you could go.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've heard my share of stupid flaggers too, and that's from fellow flaggers saying I booted that fucker off the road quicker than shit. Because he's sitting there playing on his phone instead of paying attention to fucking traffic, and he had his fucking he had his pole half cocked. Instead of having it blatantly showing stop or slow, to the traffic, they have to sit there and guess. And 9 times out of 10, their guess is, I'm going. Yeah. And if it happens to be a stop situation, then, you're going to have an accident on your hands. So, I've heard idiot flaggers, too, from co-workers, not just, other drivers bitching about stupid flaggers. This is co-workers bitching, too. But, at the same token, I've seen far more idiot drivers.
Yeah.
If they're only letting 3 people go, there's a chance that at the other end of the zone there's a stoplight and there's only enough room for 3 cars to stop there.
Yep.
And you can't always preempt whenever the fucking stoplight's going to change to let more than 3 go.
The world doesn't revolve around you, drivers.
And if you're the 4th driver there and you wind up causing a traffic jam because, everyone wants to make a left turn, fuck you. You're the one screwed everyone. You're the one getting fined.
Yep. Well, like I said, I think, my business is the most important business. Never mind the traffic stuff. I have somewhere to go.
Yeah. I'm trying to make certain you can get there.
The thing about the Karen thing, and I'm still not sold on the name, just because every Karen I ever knew was a Valley girl or a teacher, but I don't count those because I never, thought of my teachers as humans, basically.
Yeah.
And so, but everyone thinks that phenomenon is brand new.
Like I said, Pharisee. That's what they called him in Jesus' time.
Well, yes. So, you know me. I liked the Mud Bomb radio show. It was a huge influence on why I started this show. And I was listening to some old Mud Bomb episodes around the time we restarted the show a couple months ago. Just for nostalgic reasons. And because they're funny. And they played a police call of a woman who was calling the police because a fast food restaurant gave her the wrong hamburger. And she has to take her kids. Her kids are hungry because they just got done with Taekwondo practice.
Yes. Yes, this is a continuous thing throughout society, people.
I just call them soccer moms.
Yeah, I call them whatever these days. Neo-yuppie trash fits.
Yeah. Like I said, all the Karens I know were Valley girls. So it's kind of hard to... So, yes, she got the wrong... And it's funny because the 911 operator was actually losing patience with her. We're not going to send a cop over there because you got the wrong hamburger.
My tax dollars.
I just got my kids from Taekwondo practice.
You're wasting my tax dollars on finding murderers. This is a real crime.
because usually the 911 operators have to be nice or whatever, but she was not very, which I can't blame her. That was like, wait, you're calling 911 because of that? Really?
Man, was your son shot in the face 32 times? Not 31. It's not an emergency if it's only 31, but 32 times.
There was one police call that the mother was saying that her daughter was out of control and she couldn't control her because they were almost the same height. And the 911 operator said, "Do you want us to come over and shoot her?" As a joke. He was so fired after that. And she didn't think it's funny, but just imagine if she said yes.
This one guy nicknamed Boomhauer because he talked like the character from King of the Hill.
Yep.
Except he was a huge coke addict and fucking junkie.
Well, I always thought Boomhauer was a...
He worked at No. On King of the Hill, he was straight edge, just talked funny. Whereas,
No, I always thought Boomhauer had a secret. The way he talked, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, continue.
Well, anyways, he wound up working at Sears Telemarketing. And one day, he was like, "Hi, we're going to send Bob Vila to your home. Just give me your information," because he needed more confirmed calls to keep his job. So he told them they were going to send Bob Vila to do home renovations.
For those of you who maybe weren't around or maybe didn't pay attention, Bob Vila used to host
This Old House.
And he did some other stuff as well, and he was a staple
For the home renovation genre of TV.
On a lot of commercials as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it's like, oh my god, I'm going to send someone famous to my house. Oh my god. And it was your typical redneck house, with rusted cars in the lawn that they had to clean up. So that way, like, whenever they called back to bitch the manager, because I thought Bob Vila was coming, and here it was some other dude that came in. What the fuck? And he just told me Bob Vila's not coming. Like he went through the list of all the things that he had to clean up: the rusted cars in the lawn, the broken fence, everything just so it would look better.
Yes.
You're gonna get new cabinets.
I remember. Yeah, it's.
So yeah, that job didn't last for him.
No, I could see why. Although I'm sure he had a good laugh about it.
I don't know if he was with it enough to laugh. He just thought he was pulling one over on someone and getting the numbers he needed.
No, I mean after the fact.
No, because he was fired from a job he liked because of it. Meanwhile, we're laughing at him because it's like, oh my god, no. Why? Why are you that dumb? Oh yeah, right, junkie, forgot.
That's, yeah. Just remember the story of the scorpion and the frog? Just cause.
Oh god.
Just cause, Jim.
Yeah, nothing about it being in your nature. Just cause we gotta rob it of all meaning.
Well, yeah, if you're a stoner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a junkie. What do you expect him to do?
Exactly.
But I love the guy. So stupid. He thought Bob Vila was going to come to his redneck house.
Mm-hmm. And he cleaned out rusted out cars just so it could happen.
I cleaned out my redneck house, and there ain't no goddamn talk show or home improvement host.
No, we're kind of screwed here.
Yeah, I remember that. He was on like all the shitload of commercials on TNN. Good times.
Mm-hmm.
And he and So that's great. Telemarketers, kind of an interesting thing actually, because you're talking to people who don't want to talk to you.
Well, I worked a job doing telesurveys.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Now that was a trick because they expected me to sell something to them. And like some people, okay, the opening statement is like, "Hi, I'm Jim's from Customer Contact. We're not selling anything. We're conducting a survey." They hear that we're not selling anything, so they sit there and do the survey. Some people would actually just sit there and do the survey, waiting for me to sell something so they could sue.
Wow.
But whenever we ended the survey and they found out I wasn't offering anything, I wasn't selling a single damn thing, they'd get all pissed off at me.
I wanted to. That is great. A friend of mine did a. He was a guy. He worked for the police. He was the guy who forwarded. He worked as a 911 operator, and he said he hated the job because at night there would be, like, say, an accident, and he would radio the tow truck driver. Well, the tow truck driver would be asleep because it's 3 o'clock in the morning. He would be asleep in his truck, and the cops would get mad that the tow truck driver was asleep in his truck, but they wouldn't yell at the tow truck driver. They'd yell at the 911 operator, even though it wasn't his fault at all. Because you got to yell at someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to yell at someone. Might as well be the tow truck operator.
Shoot the messenger, not the person delivering.
Yep.
Not the person who wants you dead. Yeah.
Yep. Got to shoot the messenger. Of course. So yeah, that's just a window into our world, peoples.
Anyways, let's call it here because I think we're starting to run out of steam.
Yes. It's been a good show. Cue the outro. This has been the Swine Brothers Show, episode something. You can contact us at cosmicgodsdie@gmail.com. The Facebook that Jim now manages is Swine Brothers. So if the quality of the poster is shit, it's all his fault. For the Jim, I have been Elliot Lindenwood. We'll see you next time, folks.
Okay, that was good. We just needed to take more shit.
Let's get drunk and beat up some midgets.